Always remember, you are on Big Sills time. Always remember, never late, always on time. No matter what it is, Big Sills is always on time. Because I live in the world of Big Sills. And you today, all of you do is live in the world of Big Sills. The 89th National Football League draft is tomorrow. How you doing? By the way, all supers go to the top. Very spirited conversation we had yesterday. Hit that like button. Guys are awesome. Man, getting a call. Dan Sileo, Ray Perkins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, Coach, how you doing? Congratulations, you're a member of the National Football League. I put the phone down like this, and I started crying. I did. I started crying. My greatest accomplishment in my life to that moment was getting that call. Dan Sileo, this is Ray Perkins, Buccaneers. Yes, we're going to send down a plane. You'll fly in. We'll introduce you to the media. Tom McEwen will ask the first question. Congratulations. Here's you, Culverhouse. Mr. Culverhouse, thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Very glad to have you, Dan. I'm sending my private jet down for you now. We'll pick you up, and we'll introduce you to the media. Travel agent will call you and give you a chance to talk to your family. Congratulations. Here's Coach Perkins. Dan, this is Coach again. Here's Mike Dubose, the D-line coach. Glad to have you, man. I can't wait to see you. Thank you, Coach. I'll see you. That was awesome. And then the next call was the greatest call of all time. Called my grandfather. Hey, Dad, the Bucs just drafted me 56th overall. What? Yeah, I'm flying up now. Going to see the Buccaneers. Culverhouse is sending his jet. It's the only time I've ever been on a private jet was when they sent that down for me. I still got the receipt of the guy who wrote down in the box the notes. Thank you so much for what you did at the University of Miami. God, I hope I still have that. Congratulations to you. And it was great. We flew up. It's about a 30-minute flight, 35-minute flight. I get off the airplane, and Culverhouse is there in his orange jacket. Ray was there, D-line coach. Phil Kruger was there. Rich McKay was there. We took a limo over to the shittiest complex of all time. This one Buck place, not the place they're in now, which is awesome. But this thing was like, I mean, Miami didn't have very good facilities back in the day. But these facilities were horseshit. I mean, they were not very good. I couldn't believe it. I met the press in a trailer. They didn't even have like a press room. I was like, holy cow, the weight room was terrible. I mean, I thought I was going to walk into this plush setting. And it's right near the airport. It used to be near the airport. Now it's on the other side of Raymond James. It's a really great facility. Now, the Glazers know how to do it. But Hugh was just so cheap. And so there I was, and Tom McEwen, who, God rest his soul, him and Edwin Pope are some of the legendary sports writers of all time, and they were dear friends. And Edwin was a Gator guy, and he knew all the damage that I had done to his Gators. I had killed that team. And he came right up to me and he goes, "Man, I am so glad you're here." He goes, "But the one thing you're going to be disappointed about is that you're being drafted by the Bucks and this coaching staff." And boy, did that turn out to be so true. I mean, he was more right than, and I'm glad that before he passed that we were really great friends and all. And man, he was so right in all the things that went on, because that coaching staff was so, I went from the best coaching staff. And boy, I'll tell you guys, this is one thing that's going to be a great thing for whoever gets drafted to Philly. Your agent's going to go, you're going to be well taken care of because you're going to have great coaches. Okay? You're going to have great coaches. Okay? I mean, incredible. Good stuff. And hey, when you get that call and they call you, it's life altering. I'll always be known as one of the 20,000 men who have been drafted into this thing and into a brotherhood that is very rare. It's only 20,000 of these guys, 100 some odd years of football, or actually 89 years of the draft. It started in 36, I think. So, man. Kyle, I'll get to your super chat. I apologize. By the way, Kyle just reminds us here to go to super chats. Super chats all go to the top. Xander, if I missed one, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. We look forward to this. By the way, we're going to look at value. And we're going to look at value. Okay? Xander, if we could get that super chat by Kyle, I want to make sure we get that, because I want to, as I tell everybody, every single guy that donates to the program, we can't thank you enough, man. Shador Sanders is Johnny Manziel 2.0. I happen to be with you. I'm going to read you something. I'm not going to tell you the name. But here's what a general manager said. Tom Pelissero, I just looked it up. Xander's right. This has been floating around the internet. I didn't know, but now I know who it is because I talked to that GM. His take on Shador Sanders' interview at the NFL Combines. NFL assistant coach. It wasn't a coach. It was a GM. Worst interview I've ever seen in my life. He's so entitled. He takes awful sacks. He never plays on time. He blames teammates for failure. But the biggest thing of all, he's just not an elite talent. That's how I see it. That's how I've been saying it to you for, 4 months. I don't think he's an elite talent. Dude. And I just don't see it. Did you have a welcome to the NFL moment? I did. When they called me, Ray Perkins goes, "Congratulations. You made it to the NFL." And I just started crying. This guy drafted Lawrence Taylor. This guy drafted Phil Simms. This guy drafted all those great players when he was in New York. Remember something. Guess who hired Bill Belichick? Guess who hired Bill Parcells? You think Bill Parcells hired Bill Belichick? It was Ray Perkins. Ray hired him. Wasn't Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells gets all the credit for Lawrence Taylor. Ray drafted him. Ray hired Belichick. Wasn't Parcells who hired him. Absolutely a Bama guy. Okay? By the way, one more thing about Sanders. And you see those things that are coming out? By the way, the stuff on Walter Nolan is bullshit. Late to practice? Are you crazy? Really? I don't give a shit. I don't care about that. That's made up shit. That's white noise. I have no interest in that. If this guy hasn't robbed a bank, raped a chick, stole money from the church kitty, robbed a 7-Eleven, knocked over an old lady, killed an animal, what have you. If he hasn't done any of that, I don't care. what you're saying about him. I don't care. Okay? Like the shit with Sanders. You know, I get people asking me, do you just hate the kid? I go, how? Unlike many of you, how could I hate Shador Sanders when I don't know him? I don't hate people I don't know. Okay? That's not how I operate. If I know you, I'll have a different opinion of you. But if I don't know you, I only know what people are saying. My opinion of you will never be the opinion of others. I don't value people that way. I don't judge people that way. I think that's an asshole way of looking at things. That's just not my way of doing it. For the first time, Pops won't be coaching Shador. I'm telling you, Sills. He's going to get pushed around by the NFL vets. That's right. That's one of my takes, Leon. One of my takes is, hey, man, this guy had everyone carve out his IMG life, had him carve out his Jackson State life, and had him carve out his Colorado life to the point where now they retired his number for doing nothing. I am more accomplished in college on what I did than he is. You know why? I fucking won more. I lost one game in 3 years in the regular season. One game. I don't know what he's talking about. I was on the number one defense in the national football, or excuse me, in college football, I was on the top-ranked defense. Top-ranked defense. I don't know what he's accomplished. What exactly has he accomplished in college? I mean, what did he do that makes you go, he's elite? Because his last name is Sanders. Now, again, this ties in to what the Eagles are going to do at number 32. By the way, I would say this to you. We're gonna take a look at we'll look at the Jimmy Johnson value chart a little bit later on, okay? We're also going to look at Howie Roseman and his drafting since 2016. It's not what you think. We're not going to go through it again with a fine-tooth comb like we did yesterday. That's not where we're going with this. At 32, my 5 guys, prior to the draft, my 5 guys that I think if they're not there, I have no interest in selecting there. Because I'm going to show you. Let me give you a little bit of insight on something here. So let me ask you something. Let me ask you this, guys. So the 32nd pick has a value of 590 points. The 33rd pick has a value of 580. The 34th pick has a value of 560. The 35th pick has a value of 550. So you're 40 points in between the margins there. 4 points. 4 percentage points. What's the difference between me drafting at 34 and 32? Nothing. Especially if I can get a team to give me another draft pick. Why in the world would I sit there and take a shitty player or a guy I'm not 1,000% sold on at 32? Why would I do that? Okay? In college, Sills, you were the man. What happened to you? Tell you one more time. Wasn't meant to be. I wasn't mentally and mature enough to handle success at the time. It was rushed on me. I was a Cane on Friday. Sunday, played against the Bears. Most kids get drafted in April. You have 5-6 months to get acclimated to the league. No excuses. I was in a shitty team. I couldn't handle the losing. I got a lot of money. Then I caught a deadly disease and almost died. It just wasn't meant to be. My rookie year, I had 25 tackles. I had way more production than anything Jalen Carter ever thought, or excuse me, Jordan Davis ever thought of having. And it just wasn't meant to be. If I had to go back and look at that and say what failed, I failed me. I wasn't properly and mentally prepared for what the NFL and being a pro was all about. That's what happened. Okay? I mean, Prince, no. I mean, I get asked this question all the time. What happened? Well, I have to always be honest with you. Right? Bob Wolf was my agent. So, hey, when I talk to you about players, I come from the angle of not living up to expectation. So when you talk to me, I talk to you from a guy who was drafted almost the same pick Jalen Hurts was. You understand that? He and I were almost drafted. I think he was 53. I was 56. So, I mean, we were right there together. Oh, yeah. Biggest failure in my life. Not living up to the expectations that many had on me. I was supposed to play 12, 13. Charlie Casserly said, I was supposed to be a 6-time All-Pro. That's, I mean, you asked. I have to be accountable for my failures. That's what happened. Do I regret it? Every single day of my life. That's why when you get an opportunity like this, comes and goes. Be prepared. Go to the right place. Do not take anything for granted. That's right, Elizabeth. And they moved me to another position that I'd never played in my life. You minds will ask me to speak Portuguese. Had no idea. Okay? That lasted longer than Brock Lesnar. I did play 7 years of pro football. And I did make over $2 million in my life playing pro ball. So I'm, hey, I may have piecemealed it together, but it was all right. I mean, hey, was it what I wanted it to be? No. So that's why I went tomorrow night to draft. And when I give you my perspective of what a kid does, okay, I give it to you from my position. Okay? Hey, very proud of, get this, and I'll say it again. Very proud of the things that I've accomplished in my life. Very proud. Okay? Should have been more, but hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's on me, no one else. On me. I don't blame anyone. Shador. I don't blame anybody for failure. You blame yourself. And you give people around you the kudos for helping you. That's who I am. Philly 500. Our boy's going to join us at 4:30. Xander. Love our conversations. Will join us at 3:30. Sills hearing reports the Ravens have traded for Ramsey. It's lying season, but I hear it's sold. Is there anyone that you could text to verify this? Check that out. We will, for sure. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate you, brother. When you love what you do, you'll always be successful. Tremendous, man. That's right, Kim. You can't put a price tag on what you love and what success means to you. Success has many, many values. personal, financial, spiritual. You've got to determine to what pot you take out of on what success means to you. Absolutely. No question about it here. I'll make this point to you one day out from the draft. Just had a great conversation with Xander. Travis Hunter will have a spectacular football career. Xander's not high on him. Okay? When I watch the tape on him and I hear what scouts say about him, last time I heard somebody talk like that, glowingly about a secondary guy, it was the kid out of Florida State, Deion Sanders. I see the same things. Gifted athlete. This guy could have played basketball. Scored 21 a night when he was in college. Runs 4.4s. I mean, this guy here is the corner version of Cooper DeJean. You know what people should start looking at when it talks of players like Cooper DeJean? Cooper DeJean's a better football player than Quinyon Mitchell. Why? Because you can play him anywhere. I'm not saying you can't play Q anywhere. I think he's a better football player. I think Q's a better corner. Does it make sense? Okay. I think he's a better corner. I think Cooper's a better football player. I see football player all over that kid, Cooper DeJean. Okay? He's a football player. Q is a great corner. Has a chance to be a great corner. Great looking prospect at corner. Spectacular rookie season. Now, you are going to look good in a zone. That's James Bradbury. I think this is going to be an interesting year for those guys in the secondary. Reed Blankenship. Remember, they went from the second-ranked pass defense in 22 to 28. Why? Because guys in the front couldn't get home. You're going to have to rely. Who's your best pass rusher right now on the Philadelphia Eagles? Who's the best pass rusher? Jalen Carter? Okay. Who's your second best pass rusher? Nolan Smith? Okay. I think there's a big drop-off from Jalen Carter to Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith, let me tell you this, 6 sacks. He had a really good postseason. But 6 sacks, again, he didn't play full season. That's not elite. That's okay. There's a couple guys on your team that had 10 sack seasons. What happened to them? How come they fell off the map? You're assuming that Nolan's not. Fair enough. He hasn't yet. We don't know. We know what Aziz and we know what Joshua did. They fell off the map. They were never the same player again. Circumstances around him could have played that because environment does play a lot into that. Okay? I'm going to get to those here in a second here, Bob. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Also, Super Chats go to the top. Got off the first page today. I'm glad to see that. All right. If I'm sitting at, how many people believe the Eagles are going to stand pat at 32? How many people? Okay. See Sue's comment? Well, why didn't they give Keely Ringo the reps instead of Isaiah Rodgers a year ago? Sue, you answered your own question on Keely Ringo. How come they didn't give him the reps? If he needs the reps, why wouldn't you give him the reps over Isaiah Rodgers? Why wouldn't they? You know why? Because Vic trusted and Isaiah was better. Right? I mean, needs more reps? I agree. Why didn't Trotter beat out Oren Burks? Oren Burks was a free agent guy they found with the 49ers. You think another year sitting on the bench, no reps, he's going to be a better ball player than he was a year ago? So I'm not ripping you. I'm asking you. You brought that up. They need more reps. Then why didn't Trotter get them? Wait a minute. She fucking asks the question, then she tells me to relax. Or she says something out loud that they need more reps and she tells me to relax. Which is it? If you're going to open your face, Sue, and you're going to make a comment, and I do love you. Okay? All right. Bob asked the question, and the most important question. What do you do at 32? I think there's 5 guys. If I'm staying pat and I'm not doing anything, I'm staying pat for these dudes. Okay, again, no trades, no nothing, no moving out. Personally, I think the best move, if one of these 5 guys are not there, and by the way, I'm not going to move off these 5. I think one of these 5 guys could be somebody they'll take down there. Okay? Okay. Malachi Starks at safety. Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky corner. James Pierce, Tennessee edge. Derek Harmon, Oregon DT. Or Walter Nolan, Ole Miss at DT. Anyone else? I'm trading out. I have no interest in trading up. Somebody brought something interesting to me today. Hey, Sills, you see Howie Roseman greasing the media and the Philadelphia media and getting ahead of the story because this is what Philadelphia likes to do? Folks, do you know how important Big Dom is in this entire process? He isn't wrong, because at the end of the day, Big Dom, their chief of security, if he doesn't get by him, Howie's not in any way going to investigate the guy, evaluate the guy, and potentially draft the guy. If you think about it, the most important guy in the building, draft night, is Big Dom. Because if Big Dom doesn't check off all the boxes with character issues or things from the past, it's like having a job interview and they do a background search on you. If it comes back that you've been arrested multiple times for speeding or having bad decision-making, that company doesn't even interview you. It's the same process. This is the same process. Howie Roseman's got a bunch of guys that he likes, but if Big Dom, he vets them, and some of these guys come back and there's check marks, they never get another opportunity because they'll never be interviewed. They'll never be thought. The organizations pass on those guys. In theory, on Thursday night, the first hands that these players go through is Big Dom. It's Big Dom. Okay? So then you go to Howie, and then Howie's people start going through the players. Malachi Starks, we gave you the rundown from Bledsoe and how they see him. Maxwell Harrison, because, again, there's a corner. There's a need of a corner. You know, quite frankly, I don't really give a shit about the player's name. I don't care. Does the talent match up to the position need? That's what and how I look at this. That's why I'm never really too far off base. They may not pick the player. I told you Chop Robinson was my pick for the Eagles. He finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting. I told you about the kid McDuffie, Kansas City. I told you about that kid Lloyd down in Jacksonville. The players that I look at, I'm not wrong on. The Eagles may not take him, but they go on. By the way, I know a lot of you think that you have the better player over Teron Arnold. You do. He did start 15 games on the top seeded Detroit Lions. And he did finish in the top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting. He wasn't horrible, and he made all rookie. Same thing that Quinyon Mitchell did. Eagles may trade for a star instead of picking at 32. No way. They're not doing that because why? They're saving money. Okay, they're saving money. They're making money moves all across the board. So these 5 guys, for me, Malachi Starks, Maxwell Harrison. You're like, Matt, it's the first time you said that. You don't have a corner in the house. You going to trade for Jalen Ramsey? You're get this. Adoree Jackson. So what are you trying to do? Get the James Bradbury effect again? Hoping that will work? All right. It may. You think Adoree Jackson's the answer? You think he's the answer to replace Slay? Yes or no? Okay. Do you? I don't. I don't think Keely Ringo is. And by the looks of it, with all the people that they've brought in for interviews, they're looking for DBs. Starks fills a lot. Get this. Let me tell you why Starks. Stark fills a lot of your needs. And what's the most important thing? That's a great point. I had forgotten this. Arnold came out as a sophomore. Q was a 4-year guy. Great take, Mike. That's correct. He was 19 years old when he came out. What's the thing about Malachi? Because I've got to tell you, a lot of people in Philly don't want to address this. But we do it all the time. I think the really interesting question on why the Eagles are so steadfast in not moving out Cooper DeJean to corner is because they don't believe he can play corner. And to sit there and say, well, this year's not the most important year. Next year is. Why would that be? You have an open position now at corner for the kid. It's an open competition. Why wouldn't you push him out there? Why would you not put Cooper DeJean out there? The only reason is, hey, by the way, when we found out that Malachi Starks couldn't play left tackle or right tackle, what did they do? Hey, why don't you play guard? Okay. Turned out to be a grand slam move. You got an opening right now at corner. Actually, at CB1, you're not going to put one of your better defenders that you tell us you evaluated on, and yet you're bringing scores of players in to try to find a safety and a cornerback. Why don't you move them there? I mean, maybe they will. If they draft Malachi Starks, do they move him out there? Put him in the slot? Give Sidney Brown a chance to win that strong safety that C.J. Gardner-Johnson created? Okay? What are you doing there? That'd be a pretty good-looking secondary if Sidney can live up to his third-round grade. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Malachi Starks, and Cooper DeJean. I don't know about you, but that's a secondary that resembles your old line. That's a secondary you can have intact for the next 5 years. Does it not? And what's the most important thing? They're all on rookie deals. Right? And you're talking about paying, watch this. Q's salary a year ago. Let me go down here. Let me show you what that would be, too. I think this, again, remember something. You have to bring money into this conversation for tomorrow's draft. You have to put money into this because the Eagles this offseason have been steadfast in how they have spent money. Okay? It's important to them. So it has to be important. You just can't randomly sit there and go like this. Well, shit, just trade up. Well, that's not how this works. So last year, 22nd player. Is that, hey, help me out, guys. The 22nd player, is that where Q was drafted? Okay, 22nd player. So we're talking about a kid making $4 million. Q's making $4 million. Reed's going to make about $8 million. Right? Cooper's making, let's find out what Cooper's making. Where he went. Cooper DeJean. Second round. He's making 1.6. Get this. Cooper DeJean is making 1.6 million bucks. You draft Malachi Starks, he's making 3 million. That's a far cry from where you guys were when you were paying Slay 11 million and you were paying Bradbury another $10 million. You're paying Q roughly like 4 million bucks. You're going to pay Reed, going to give him a contract. I'm assuming probably not now. I don't think. So you're going to get him this year for about $1 million something or 2 million. You're getting Cooper at 1.6 million and Malachi would be 3. Your entire secondary would be the cheapest and some of the most talented young players in the league. That is so Howie Roseman, because what was the one exercise that I was trying to get to you guys yesterday wasn't the fact that I believe in player development. It's this. They do not believe in long-term players on defense. That is a fact. Sills, were they a success, Milton Williams? Yes, but they don't believe in long-term success with those players. Both things can be true. Milton was a Grand Slam pick in the 3rd, correct? Milton never lived to a second draft pick or a second contract here, as did a ton of players who will be in the future. They just don't believe in resources on that side of the ball financially. They're not doing a bad job drafting over there. They just don't believe in long-term goals with players on defense. Now, they're starting to pick and choose some of these players they're identifying with. Q, Cooper, and Carter. Zach Bond's a 3-year guy. Okay? He'll never get another contract in Philly. You think Zach, what are the chances do you think Zach Bond gets another deal in Philadelphia? 0. He's not getting another contract. Eagles have much more priorities. And you have to continue balancing on that side of the ball on offense. Get this. If you take a look at the offense versus the defense, every single player that starts is almost working on their second or third deals. That's not the case on defense. They just don't believe. Hey, they developed, they drafted exceptionally well Milton and Josh. Okay? They just don't believe reinvesting. They would rather rip the number one defense apart, go back into the draft. That's her formula. Sills, as Mike Golick said yesterday, they slipped the rings on. It's not an indictment. It's just we're talking about behavior on how you build a team. You understand? I'm not indicting you. I'm not saying it's not working. Don't get upset when I say you don't believe in second contracts on that side of the ball and long-term investments. Zach Bond is the longest-term investment that they'll ever make on that side of the football. You'll never see multiple deals, and you'll never see longer than 3-year deals. Most of them will be 1 to 3 years. That's it. Howie doesn't really sign long-term contracts with really anybody. I'll tell you what, though. You get on that other side of the ball, they'll work your player option. They'll work extension like they did with Devontae. They're not doing any of that. You mean to tell me you couldn't have worked that contract with Milton Williams the same way you did Devontae Smith? They just didn't want to. They just didn't want to. Fletcher and BG. I'm talking about what they're doing in the last guys on the roster right now. We talked about this yesterday. Abe, there's very few people that they're going to reinvest in. Carter's going to be one. Okay? Carter's going to be one for sure. By the way, I wouldn't have a problem giving Jalen Carter a 4 or 5 year deal to spread that money even further out. I am comfortable with that. If that lowers my base salary from the value of the 40 per, I have no problem giving. I'm not sold on Nolan Smith yet. Getting a 3-year contract. I got to see if he can hold up. I'm not sold on Nakobe Dean getting another contract. He's eligible now. Why haven't they addressed it? Because he's hurt? Huh. But then again, this is their formula. Nobody is ripping it. You know why? There's only 2 teams. Let me give it to you. There is only 2 teams that rival one another, and the Eagles are superior to even that team. It's the Rams. In the last 4 years, the Rams are 37-31 in the regular season with a Super Bowl win. The Eagles are 48-20, 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl. Nobody else comes close in the NFC. Nobody. Look at the difference in the disparity between those 2 clubs. 48 wins versus 37 wins. Not awful, but there's 2 Super Bowl appearances. Still, the drafting and the formula, the way they draft, the Eagles do not believe in keeping players and rolling things. They don't believe, let's run it back. They just don't. They didn't run it back in 7. They tried to with older veteran guys in 17. They tried to. That was a failure. They clearly are not running anything back. They blew up the number 1 defense. It's the way they do business. By the way, do you know how much balls that takes for what Howie Roseman did and believing in your own process, the amount of stones that takes? Hey, we got things to worry about in 26 and 27. They've got an eyeball on the future, trying to remain competitive in the NFC in 2025. They're trying to do all of that with one swoop. And you know how they're doing it? They're keeping that offense intact. The number 1 priority for that organization, they are not losing talent on offense. They'll lose talent on defense because that's what they've done in the Howie Roseman era of being the general manager of the team. It's not a rip. Your success speaks to it. Nobody is talking about that. But there's more conversations about 26 and 27 than there are about 25. Okay? I mean, That's how they view this. No, Mike didn't tell me that. I said that. That defense is a luxury. I said that. That's right. Wait a minute. I know. You don't believe in second contracts over there. It's how you operate. Would the Lions trade Kirby Joseph for 32 and Brown? Come on, man. If A.J. Brown has anything to do with being traded, it's to New England for the 4th pick. Dude, the 32nd pick and Brown? What Brown are you talking about? I'm hoping there's another Brown on the team. Brown in the 32nd pick? What are we talking about here? I mean, dude, here's what I would trade A.J. Brown for. The 4th pick in the draft, or better yet, I would send him to Cleveland for the 2nd pick, all right? And I would want the Browns to give me the 2nd pick, Amari Cooper. I don't even know. No, Cooper's up in Buffalo. I want somebody on that football team that they have, or I want multiple picks in the 2 and 3 range in the 2nd or 3rd rounds. I'm not trading with a Lions team down in the late 20s. No interest in that. I'm trying to get multiple. You know what I want? I would want Cleveland's 1st pick in the 2nd, and I want their 2nd pick, and I want probably a 4th for A.J. Brown. You want to do that? That means I get Travis Hunter. Can you imagine my corners? Travis Hunter and Q. How you doing? With Cooper in the slot? That looks good. You think anybody's doing that? Absolutely not. Why? There's financial ramifications doing that. There's dead cap money. You can defer it, but why blow the plan up? And at the end of the day, they don't value defense. They're not looking to spend a boatload of money on a bunch of players like that. Look at how many guys are making north of $15 million on this team. I'm going to show you something here where all you have to know is how they do business. Okay? Malata, north of 15. Landon, north of 15. Get this. Jurgens, north of 15. Lane, north of 15. Hurts, north of 15. Barkley, north of 15. Smith, north of 15. Brown, north of 15. Shit, who else? Goddard, north of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 guys on that side of the ball. Let's go over to defense who makes north of 15. Bryce Huff, a failure. And Bond. You got one dude that starts and another guy who's a bust. You tell me how they do business. Well, Sills, that's going to change next year. Oh, I know it will. When you pay, there's one thing that becomes evident. Why don't you guys agree with me? Okay? The reason Dallas Goddard is getting moved off this football team is because they paid the running back. Why else would he be? Why else would Dallas Goddard? What's the number one reason? You don't even have a fucking plan at tight end. What's the number one reason that you're moving off Dallas Goddard and you're talking about Harrison Bryant, who, get this, it's not 60, a 60% Goddard is better than that guy. Why in the world are you moving off of Goddard? Why? That's right, Bob. They got $22 million in cap space. They can pay him. This is a money crunch. Think about that. Bob brings a great point up. Eagles have $22 million in cap space. Wait a minute here. It ain't money. Oh, wait, it is. This is about saving cash. You know how all the time you guys keep telling me about how he manipulates the salary cap? Dallas Goddard being moved off this team has nothing to do with the salary cap. It has everything to do with available cash and how they want to spend it. I'm not saying they're broke. Eagles pay money, dude. It's evident. Right? Why are you moving off of Goddard? Because Howie moves money around. Just like he did with Bryce Huff. They moved off of Reddick. They gave Huff Reddick's contract. They didn't upgrade. They didn't upgrade the team with Huff, or they thought they just moved money around. Why do you think Josh Sweat and Milton Williams were not retained? Well, let me see something here. 19 million. 26 million. That's 45. How much do you think they're going to pay Jalen Carter next year? 40? 40 million? 39 million? Somewhere in there? Huh. Gee. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat come out to a total of $45 million. Oh, gee. There's Carter's money. Okay. I get it. You couldn't keep those players because you're using that money to pay Carter. That's what you're doing. And by the way, is this an indictment? Hell no. I just told you. You're 48-20 in 4 years with 2 Super Bowl appearances and a win. This is going to give you a sense of where you're going in the draft tomorrow. I'm not ripping it. How could you rip it? You're 6-2 or whatever you are in the Hurts era in the postseason. Nobody's ripping anything. I'm trying to give you a game plan for how you're going to look at tomorrow night. I mean, anytime you bring things like this up, everyone's like, Sills is taking it. No. How can you take a shit on it? But what people don't want to hear is this. Howie doesn't believe in second contracts on defense. He just doesn't. The organization does not. Sills, and then get this. When you run out of conversation on why he doesn't, well, we've won 2 Super Bowls. Nobody's saying that isn't the case. But don't sit here and try to tell me that they believe in the same philosophy that they do with multiple year contracts on the offensive side of the football when they don't believe in building something and staying pat with a plan. You know what their plan is? There's 2 different plans in Philly. Defensive plans will be free agency, 1-year prove-it contracts. And when the player gets to a certain point and his deals are up, 75% of the time they're moving on from him. That's what's happened. The whole defense is on rookie contracts. Yeah, but Keely Ringo, Sidney Brown, Moro Jomo, who else? Jalix Hunt. All of those guys have to star this year. And then you got to think of this. Remember, those guys were the backups last year. Who's your backups to those guys? Who's your rotation pieces to those guys? Who's your third corner right now? Let me ask you this. Who's your third corner? If you were to start a game Sunday, who is your third corner right now? In case somebody gets banged up. Vic doesn't like what's going on out there. They want to go nickel. Adoree Jackson, the free agent from New York. Okay. So you're counting on Adoree Jackson to step in there. Not to say, hey, by the way, watch this. Not to say that the Giants know what they're doing, because they don't. As long as that GM's in the building, they have no chance of success. Okay. So, by the way, both of these guys didn't play. Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson are going to battle it out for who's going to start and who's going to replace Slay, and then who's going to be the rotation piece, right? Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. Do you believe they're sold on that by the actions of all the players that they've brought in for interviews and for conversations in their 30-player visits? The bulk of the invitations were in the secondary. I think they have zero faith in the players that they have on the roster right now. I think they would like Brown to win that job. I think they would love Keely to win that job. But Vic's not in the business of hope. That's not what he does. And what I love about that coach, they signed Devin White a year ago to a $4 million contract annually. The other guy was brought in, supposed to be an edge rusher in Bond. And through the entire offseason, into the exhibition games, Devin White, I think, almost started every single game except the last preseason game. And I remember all those guys were getting reps, and even Trotter got reps in the Baltimore Raven preseason game. They came to it. They didn't even take him down to Sao Paulo with them, Devin White. They said he had some sort of bullshit ankle injury, which was never true. You know that. He didn't have an ankle injury. You know the only injury he had is when Vic kicked him out of his fucking office. You're not playing. They didn't even take him. They took Isaiah with them. Isaiah had an injury. They still took him to Brazil. Okay? So once again, hey, this is about the plan for tomorrow night, what they're going to do. That's all this. Sills, I'm not concerned by all the visits because corner is a premier position. So you bring in guys as per, or do you do your due diligence? Remember something too, Bob. You know, I've heard a lot of people in Philly make this comment. Just look who the people they brought in. Hey, Bob, how many visits, how many times do you think their area scouts have been at pro days doing the same exact thing they would do at NovaCare? How many tight ends, Bob, do you think? I'll tell you this. The kid Arroyo met with the Eagles down at the pro day for the Canes. Does that count? Did you know that? Mario Cristobal told me that. Eagles met with him. I'm not saying Howie did, but the Eagles met with him. I mean, doesn't that count? Right? Or like when you go to pro days, all those area scouts will sit down and do the same shit they'll do at NovaCare down at the University of Miami, Tuscaloosa, Knoxville, Eugene, Los Angeles, Fort Worth, TCU. They do the same shit. So don't be clouded just by the 30 visit stuff. They do the same things. They send those names up to Big Dom. Dom does the background check on them. Okay. Then they're cleared. Then they start evaluating them more. So when you show, well, the Eagles haven't really looked at any tight ends. That's not true. I know for a fact one guy was. I asked Mario, I go, did the Eagles ever come down there and look at the tight end? Here, let me text him now so I can show it to you. Did the Eagles have here? Mario. Mario. Here's Mario Cristobal. Did the Eagles... So you can see this. I'm asking him again. Okay. We cover his name. His number. I'll ask Debo. Let me send that to Debo. They check out any of the players there. Sent that over to Debo. Very simple. You know why? John McMullen's right. Howie's not going to give everything. You know who I call? Drew Rosenhaus. College football coaches. Hey, Kyle Whittingham. Did the Eagles come up to Utah and scout any players? I'll ask Ryan Day. Why can I do that? Well, they're always constantly pimping me for All-American and top 25 votes. I don't get my information from the Eagles unless it's somebody in the building that I know. I get my information from people outside the building. That's how I got the Bledsoe report. So the Eagles meet with tons of players throughout the process, but Howie needs to sit down with them and get a firsthand feel. I doubt they draft a day one or two player off the field report only. At 32, I just showed you, Bob. Bob, I'm not saying you're wrong. Bob, but here, the value and the value chart, the value at 32 is 590. What the value of that pick is. The value at 33 is 580. I mean, what are we doing here? The name on the back of the jersey is so insignificant. When you're picking at 32, you guys are caught up in names. You need to be caught up in value. Howie told you this 2 weeks ago. Stop with the names. Go with the value. If you don't go with the value, you're talking about just taking need. Anybody who chases needs will always find themselves drafting bad players. Okay? Hey, Xander, can we get Laferno's, the Latin Inferno's super chat up, please? You can. I missed it. Eagles' number one target is Walter Nolan. 22 to 32. Safety Starks, the second option, 1832. Otherwise, trade down and draft cornerback Harrison. Yeah, that sounds right. Because look what you're talking here. You're going to the value and you're using. I've posted on my Twitter and my X account. I posted the NFL draft trade value chart. Do you know why people don't know what I posted? Because they don't know how to read it. Here's what the assessment and what Coach Johnson sent me. Assigning points. The chart assigns a point value to each draft pick with the highest point value given to the first pick in the draft, which is usually 3,000 points. The value increases as the point number increases. So later round picks have the lower number. Obviously, it goes from top to bottom. And so when you're looking at a player, say you're trading the 23rd pick, and somebody wants to give you and that 22nd pick, you want to move up wherever Minnesota's sitting. That's a 780 value. How will I make my trade, make that happen? What am I looking for? Okay. I want to be able to get that pick is 780. Okay. I would expect 780 back. You want to give me the 56th pick in the second round? That's 340. Okay. That's number 56. Okay. You're still far behind that 780. I need another one. to equal that pick. Where are you going with it? May have to go with multiple threes here. I'll take a 68 at 250 in the third. That's 9. That's 590. Still far behind. So I need another pick. Where are we going here? Fifth pick. Point value. They're in the 40s there. Well, I'll need multiple picks here. If you want to get the 22nd pick for me, and you want my 22nd pick, I'll need the 56th pick, a 34th pick, and potentially 2 more picks for you to move into that slot. That's how the value chart works. You're trying to equal that number. Like trading for the first overall pick. Here's what the haul would be. See, you guys are looking at names, not value. Howie told you 2 weeks ago. Value. Okay? Assign points. Jimmy gave me the explanations. Trade value. When a trade involved draft picks is being considered, the teams can use the chart to calculate the point value of the picks offered by each team. Number 1 overall pick, Tennessee. It's $3,000. Look at the amount of picks you'd have to get back to have value for Tennessee. Tennessee would want something in the first round, which would give them 1,100 points. Say it was the 14th pick. They'd want the 14th pick. That's 1,100. They would want multiple 2s if you have them. Say it's the 40th pick. Those are 500 apiece. You get 2 2s. That comes out to 1,000. You understand what I'm saying? You get the 22nd pick, 2 2s, and you're trying to equal the value. So when Howie's going to trade that 32, that's 590. Here's what Howie would want back for that. Do you understand what I'm talking about, or is this over your heads? Because if it is, tell me. I don't want to bog you down with bullshit here. Howie's pick is valued at 590. Okay? 590. Here's what he would want to trade out of that pick. Okay? All right. Get the chart up again. So that pick is at 32,590. You could give me the 33rd pick in the second, and you could give me potentially the 191st pick in the 6th round. I would need the 33rd pick, 2nd round, 33rd, and a 6th at 192. That's what Howie would trade that for. Does this make sense? If you were to trade out, you would trade the 33rd pick, which would be Cleveland, and then you would trade a 6th rounder, pick number 192. And that could move you in to getting 2 picks and the 5th-year option, and it's cheaper salary-wise, but they're the same value pick. You understand? If there's 2 guys sitting there and one of these 5 guys is not there, you're going to need your calculators. I want every single one of you to do this for me tomorrow night. If your player's not there and Howie wants to trade, here. Howie's going to trade the 32nd pick. You're sitting at, like I said, you're sitting at 590 valued points. That's what the 32nd pick is. He uses this. Okay? Team wants to move in. And the Browns, they want to go down there and get a quarterback. Say Shador's down there. Okay? Now that adds a little more to it because it's a quarterback. So the pick of the value of the pick becomes a little more valuable. Why? Because you're going with a quarterback. Okay? So you probably add another pick into that. So they come in there. There's the 33rd pick. Like I said, that's Cleveland's pick. It's 580. That's what the value is. 580. So you're talking about a 6th rounder, like I said. With the 192, that's a 14. That's around 14 points. And if you want to go down, you really think it's a number 203 at 7. That's 10 points. So it's actually, if he's around there, that's number 203 in the 7th round. You would trade 32 for the 33rd and for the 7th round, number 203. Do you understand now how trades work? Okay? That's how trades work. It's not just going, well, let me put this fucking here. And then, that's not how that works. Okay? Seals, if I'm correct, trading a pick in the future, you lose 1 round. So you can offer a 4th in this draft and a 3rd in the next. If you offer the next year, you get 60% of the value. That's right, Bob. Bob, you have it. Bob, every single guy that you've heard talk draft does not play into it at all whatsoever, the value of what we're talking about. Now, the other part of this is, what are you looking at down there at the 32nd pick? Okay? Here. Now you start to get player grades. You go to Bledsoe. This is what Howie's going to do. He's going to have the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart in front of him, or something like it. He's going to have his scouts from the area to the main guys at NovaCare and the Bledsoe. He's going to look and go like this. So if Howie wants to trade up to 26 with the Rams, let's do that. Okay? Let's do this. Howie's sitting right now at 590 in the first. 26th pick in the draft is 700. Okay? What's number 64? Number 64 is 270. That's a little too rich. That's a little too rich, the 64th pick. So you wouldn't do a 64th pick. These are, guys, these are why those 5th round picks. Why do you think he wants to load up on 5th and 6th and 7th round picks? Why do you think that Jalen Reagor getting a 7th round? Because you can stockpile trades when you're moving in the draft out of round 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They give you the value. He uses the value chart. That's why it's so important to get those back end deals and have 5th rounders. Okay? Says, how much would you have to trade for the 29th and 30th pick? Here, let me show you. Let me show you, brother, on how that works. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Value on that. I'll do that. The value in this draft is in the 2nd and 4th rounds or through. Trade future picks plus multiple 5th round picks this year to acquire multiple 3s and 4s. That's what we're talking about. You guys are caught up in Walter Nolan and Mackay. Does that guy equal the value of the talent? And does that give you the number? Here, once again, you want to move up. What were John and Xander talking about today? Was it Minnesota, Xander? Where's Minnesota sitting? Where are they sitting right now in the draft? Because I'm looking at the draft chart. Where's Minnesota? Because Minnesota has less picks, and they need multiple picks in the draft, correct? Okay, they're sitting at 24. Here's what Howie would have to give them for them to equal that and get up to 24. You tell me if you think he would do this. So right now, they're at 590. To move up to 24, you'd have to give 32nd pick. And at 24, that thing's worth 740 points. So you'd have to give 32. And what would 64 give them? That's 270. That's 760. What's the 3rd pick? That's 160, 590, and 160. There's your pick. You'd have to give your 32nd pick and your third rounder up to move up to 24. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to do that? To move up, you're going to have to give your third rounder and your 32nd pick to move up to 24 to get Nolan, Walter Nolan. Do you think he's that valuable for you to do that? 32nd and a third. Or you'd have to put those fifth rounders in. Okay? It has to equal 760. You could do a fourth. That'd be what, again, Minnesota maybe wants multiple picks. So again, they want multiple picks. Maybe you do put a 4 and 2 5s and a 32nd pick, which gives Minnesota 3 picks. That's what they covet. 5 and the 2 5s and the 32nd pick. That's 3 additional picks that they've added to their 4 or 5, whatever they have. Now they have 8 picks, and they can bunch them up. Do you see how this works? There's got to be a value to it. Okay? Going to all this speculation when the Niners draft Nolan at 11. By the way, again, you have no control over this. You know, I love how people think that he's going to trade up. How many people believe Howie Roseman would give the 32nd pick, a third rounder, to move up to 24 to go get Nolan with Minnesota? You think he's that valuable? And don't forget this one. Here's the pick and what you're doing too at 24. So you'd have to give 32nd and a third. And if you move up to the Minnesota Vikings, if you move up to the Vikings pick, $24, now you're paying $4 million instead of the 3.2. Not that crazy. Not that crazy. Here, if Howie ever did something insane, check this out. This is why Howie's not going up past, I think, 26, the Rams. So, here. So if you want to move up, say you wanted to move up to the second pick, Cleveland. That's a 260 value. That's 2,600 points. Your 32nd's 590. You'd have to give your second, your third, all of your 5s to move up to 2. You might as well call the draft. Not doing it. And again, you start to value the player. It's not doing that. So, what's the value for Howie? Howie's got 20 draft picks the next 2 years, right? Does he want more? How many people believe Howie Roseman's going to draft 12 people in the next 2 years, let alone 20? How many people? Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. How many people believe that what'll be the number you think he uses in the draft in the next 2 years with those 20? Out of 20 draft picks, what do you think he does? How many picks will he use? Now, again, it's going to determine a player success this coming season. Sidney steps up, Nolan steps up, all those other guys come through, Malachi or Keely Ringo, some of these other guys. Okay. How many, what do you think he uses? 12, 13? 12 to 14 picks? 7 this year, 7 next year? and he trades 6 away with all the comps he's getting, right? One thing that you have to remember that I really am starting to really like about this guy, he's pretty patient and he's disciplined. Howie Roseman's strength, in my opinion, in drafting, he's disciplined because he'll look at value. First and foremost, what's the value that I have to give up to get that player? What's the value? How much do I have to move up? Look at these top 10 picks. This is why it's without a doubt, it's important when you see the same teams picking each and every single year in the top 10. Look at this, 2,200 points, 2,600 points. There's a 400-point difference from the second pick to the third pick. That would mean that you'd have to give, if you want my second round pick, or if you want my second pick in the draft, you're going to have to go and say you're at 4, you're at 1,800. You got to give me a 2, 3, and a 4 if you want to move up 2 spots to get to that pick. That's a ton of equity. You're not just going to load up, well, here's 18 5s. He is so slick at those back end 5s and 4s. Last year, can somebody tell me somebody tell me how many times did he trade last year for mid-round picks? You know why he's doing that? Because he's value charting how to make multiple moves to move up, so that when a general manager looks at it, looks at his value chart, Howie's not trying to hose me. He's adding the numbers up. This is how you trade. You don't randomly just go, I'll give you a 2, 3, and a whatever to move up. That's not how it works. These general managers barely know who these players are. 6 months is not going to tell them all they need to know about a guy. They're looking at value, the tape, and contract. You guys barely know these players. You know them now because you're constantly being thrown names around. Hey, Xander, I missed Pump's super. If I could get that, please. Sorry, Pump. I appreciate you, brother. You forgot Johnny fucking Wilson, sir. Project 89 loading. How you doing? Okay? So, you think Howie would do this? Howie's going to trade up with the Vikings, right? Okay. If Walter Nolan's there, would Howie do this? Trade number 32, 590. The Rams pick at 24 is 740. Means I got to come up with another 200 points. About 140 points. So that would be a third rounder. What's their third round number? You'd have to come up with 128. It's 8, 7, 18. They're still light. They got to come up with maybe a third and a fifth. A third and a fifth, and you're 32 to move up to 24. Would he be willing to do that for Walter Nolan? Remember, you guys just got through saying he's not going to use them all. Do you think he'd be willing to go with 3 and a 5 and 32 to move up to 24? That's what it would cost you to trade with the Vikings. Would he do that? Do you value that player that high? 32, 3, and a 5. Is that player enough? Okay. Would he? were the Eagles there? Did the Eagles have a scout there? Record on pro day. And did they talk to the tight end? I sent that same message to Brian Kelly. Did the Eagles have anybody there at LSU on pro day? So we'll get us. Yes, they talked to Arroyo. Okay, let me delete that part. So all 32 teams were at pro day. And underneath that, yes, sir, they interviewed the tight end. So the Eagles interviewed the Canes tight end. Okay? So just because they don't bring them in the building, okay? Just because they don't bring them in the building doesn't mean. Brian Kelly, too. Let me send a text to Jason Taylor's. Let me send a text to Joy. Joy Taylor. Let's do this. Joy. Mason. Does Mason want to be an Eagle? And did they talk to him? And have they talked to him? So what we're going to do is we're going to start finding out if they've made any conversations here with tight ends. Because I don't believe they haven't done anything there. Because I don't believe that organization is an organization that doesn't have a plan for anything. That organization has a plan for everything. Okay? Joy just texted me back. Let me see what she says here. It hasn't. Eagles talk to him. Awesome. He's a humble kid. He wants to play anywhere. Love it. Okay. So the Eagles have talked to Mason Taylor and Arroyo at Miami. So there is a plan. They're just not. I've kind of peeled the onion back here. Probably something they don't want public. I could probably do this with multiple teams and players that they are talking with particular players. Does Jahan Dotson get traded? We declined a fifth-year option. Really? Hey, holy cow. The resurgence of Jahan Dotson. Hey, holy shit. Hit that like button. Jahan Dotson. Yeah. Holy cow. All right. So we just found out here. Okay. Shit, I didn't even know we're already. Are you kidding me? We're already ready for Xander? Holy shit. This show is whipping. You know why? Because we take you behind the curtain. Unlike a lot of places. By the way, anybody, I heard John McMullen say something that he's so right. The one part of this whole thing that will always be something you'll never know. You know what it is? It's something you'll never know. Is the health of these kids. Because it's against the law to publish that stuff. The HIPAA rules and all that. So John's right. Having the history of the guy's health, you can't post that or talk about it publicly. It's against the law. You know, you start putting, remember what's his name? That Schefter guy. Remember Jason Pierre-Paul? This guy was posting pictures of his blown finger off. And ESPN had to settle with him $5 million because that dented his trade value, that the Giants were trying to move him. There's Adam Schefter. I'm just giving you behind the scenes on who. Oh, I love you, Joy. Doing awesome, honey. How are you? Sorry, I got to do this with Joy. I love you. Awesome. Oh, that's great, Joy. Love her. All right. I love this dude too. By the way, man, spirited conversation. I love when John and those guys this morning. So I'm going to ask Xander out of the gate here. Let's do the do you guys believe Xander would sign off? This is the first question we're going to go with Xander here. So they want to trade up to that Minnesota Viking move at 24, is it? Okay. 24 has a 740 value. Your 32nd pick has a 590. You got to come up with at least 200 point, about 140. So 140 gives you the 90th pick, which is a third rounder. You'd have to give 32 and your third to move up to 24. Would you do that for Walter Nolan? Without further ado, let's bring my boy in from Birds 365. Say, Xander Krause, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
All good. Would you be willing to do that with the Vikings? Vikings need multiple picks.
Yeah, what was it? It was 32 and what?
32 and your third. Because
yeah, I think I'd do that.
Because
I don't know.
Here's the value. Again, your pick at 32 is your value on the value chart is 590. The 24th pick is 740. And Howie uses a version of this. So you would have to come up with a value that makes that for Minnesota to want to do this. And they need multiple picks. Now, you could also package this up because you're sitting at 590. You could go a fifth.
Yeah, how much are the fifths worth versus the third?
Okay, the fifth round draft choices are 31 points, 30 points. Here, let's go to their fifths.
How much is our third worth?
Your third round pick, what number is it?
96.
160.
So I was going to say 2/5, but 2/5 isn't going to cut it for a third. I don't want to give up that third, though, man. We need players. You know, you get down to the fifth round, now you're really throwing darts. I think that third round pick is actually gonna be valuable.
I think 24 is too high. I think 24.
I don't know if you got to go to 24. If you want Nolan, you probably do. You probably do.
You don't think he'll be
Minnesota's the one team that's guaranteed to trade back.
Yeah, because they're again
not guaranteed, but they're most likely to trade back.
They're going to trade back because, I mean, to me, I'll tell you this: the sleeper in the draft. How about Howie telegraphing it too? It's funny. Howie telegraphing it, going, Big Dom's the most important guy in the fucking building. This guy does everything. So you're taking Mike Green, aren't you? Hey, that's how I read that.
I think I'd take Mike Green. That kid's a good football player.
I
mean,
would
his story's
too.
a little sketchy, but the reason I say I'd take him is not because it's because I think the Eagles organization is good enough at doing their homework. So if they take that guy, you know that everything checked out on it. And when you're talking about, I mean, forget the off the field stuff, pure football, that dude can flat out play. So that would be a great pick. But a lot of option sales tomorrow night is what I've, obviously we've talked about this many weeks now, but so many options. I mean, you're going to trade back, you're going to trade up. They got multiple targets in round one at multiple positions. So in a way, you could say the team is kind of positioned to not be able to lose, but where are you going to get the most value? Will Howie move up, move back, stay put? Will he take a safety, defensive tackle, defensive end, cornerback? I mean, they're bringing in so many people. The options are through the roof for the Birds and for the draft as a whole, which is dope.
So let me give you this guy's name. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So Florida NFL scout. Okay, I was just given this little bit of information here. Sean Heelan does the Southwest. He's also been moved to do the Southeast. He met with Arroyo at Miami. That's their area scout.
Not my favorite. I'd so much rather get Mason Taylor. I think Mason Taylor could be Dallas.
Oh, I think they're turning all stones over. Joy told me they talked to him.
Yeah, I think Mason Taylor would be a home run. The thing I like about Taylor is I think he's got the highest upside. I mean, you look at him, he's like 6'5", 260. So he's not a great blocker, but he also wasn't asked to block. He was a catch machine, moved the chains a ton, wasn't great in the red zone. But if you're telling me, I think that guy with the right coaching and once he puts on some muscle in the NFL, I think that dude could be a great blocker. I see Dallas Goddard as an upside in him.
Let me give you a little insight about his background. He wanted to play hoop. He didn't really get going into football until his junior year. Okay, so he's a late bloomer. So which means he's not learning the techniques and all this, and he's just learning now. He's getting better and better, and he's young.
Yeah.
So sometimes a guy just hits later in his strides and gets better because he just doesn't have the multiple reps. They have multiple tight ends down at LSU. So to me, he's a prospect, like you say. He fits the measurables. He looks the measurables. He's got great athletic ability. He's got a great background, and he's a late bloomer, which means he's an underachiever at LSU. It's not because he's lazy. It's just because he hasn't been given opportunity. That's a guy like Jalix Hunt. They've showed you that they move on guys like that. Nolan Smith, too. They show you that there's guys that need refining that they'll go take. That's why Mason Taylor fits that MO. I've learned one thing covering your team this year better than I ever have when it comes to doing your draft. It's not about the name on the back of the jersey at all. It has nothing to do with it. This has everything to do with value. It has everything to do with ability. It has everything to do with game tape. And most importantly, also, it has to do with value of contracts. Now, our heated conversation yesterday, it wasn't an indictment, Xander, that they're not doing it right. You're right. They're 48-20 in the last 4 years with 2 Super Bowl appearances and a win. Their idea is this. They're going to target very few guys on defense for multiple contracts because they don't want to spend that kind of money. You got 10 guys on offense right now making $15 million or more. You got one starter making north of 15, and you got a bust of a free agent sitting on the pine. The rest of these guys are one-year warriors. They are rookie contracts, and that's their formula. That's how – you're right. Milton Williams-Sills, was he a great pick for them? Sure was, but they look at it like this. See ya, Milton. I'll find another Milton in the next 3-4 drafts. We'll play 4 years with him and move on from him. That's how they look at it. It's not an indictment, bro.
I know. It is. It is. It goes back to our conversation yesterday where I beat the
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you, Ben. No, you're right though. You're what you just said is completely true with
But
the
it
way they
wins.
do it.
Like
Yeah, it does.
Mike
It
Golick
works.
said.
That's why there's no pushback on it. Now, if you fall apart and your defense can't stop a nosebleed, then you got big issues with the philosophy. But because the philosophy works so good, and by the way, I think Vic just took it over the top. I mean, now that you got Vic Fangio in the room, I'm not saying he's going to mask every problem, but boy, he's going to make every move have a 20% increase in chance of success, on that defensive side of the ball, which is a big thing.
Well, because a year ago, what you had was a guy who painted Picasso pictures. Now you have Picasso himself. Who would you rather have in your building painting you pictures?
Yeah,
Picasso
right.
or the guy who wants to paint pictures that Picasso paints? You know what I mean? You got the guy.
Yeah, right.
So to me, you're going to get a different taste for that. Now, hey, folks,
Are
go
you
down
a Picasso guy or something?
What's that? Oh, I like paintings. Listen,
Yeah, I like Michelangelo, baby.
Me too, baby. The Pietà and all that. That's a sculpture.
Baby.
I
And
like
the
that.
Sistine Chapel. I like the art in the Sistine Chapel. I'm not a travel guy, Sills, but that's one place I want to go and visit.
Oh, you have to go see the 16th ceiling, man.
Yeah.
That fresco is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Do you believe, speaking of art here, these 5 guys, here are my 5 dudes, and if they're not there, Xander, I'm out of here. And we'll be sitting there pissed off because the Eagles move out of the first round.
Yo, Sills, real quick, though, before you give me your 5, don't you think it's going to be a little bit of a timing game tomorrow, too? Because if you wait too long, like in other words, you're about to give me 5 names. If you wait till 29 or 30 or 31, which you might have to, and then you lose out at the last second, you might pigeonhole yourself into not having a trade back partner. Do you see what I'm saying with that? Like if you wait to see what happens, or wait to see if your guy falls, and then somebody makes a move up, or you lose your trade back partner at 32, or nobody wants to go to 32 because they're all waiting for the top of the second round to move to get rid of the 5th-year option, you could be screwed.
Yeah, but
I think we've got to make a decision earlier. That's why I say go up.
Wait, now, hear me out on this. Okay. You're sitting at 32, though. Jackson Dart, Shador, and Jalen Milroe haven't been taken yet. I think you have dance partners there then. If those 3 guys have not been taken, that somebody's going to want. Wouldn't Cleveland want to jump down from or jump up from the 30? I told you this. The value says this. So if you trade the 33rd pick, the first pick in the second round at 580, the 32nd pick's 590. If I'm Howie Roseman and the Cleveland Browns need a quarterback, which they do desperately, I go to Howie. I mean, I go to Andrew Berry and go, tell you what, I'll move down to 33. You move up to 32, and you give me a 7th round, 203rd pick, and I'll give you the 32nd, and you give me your 33rd. That's what you're going to have. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to take my 32nd, and you're going to have to give me also a 7th rounder. I need a 7th and a 32, and I'll take the 33.
Yeah.
So you get an additional pick. You get a 7. What does Howie love to do? I've learned one thing about you boys, man. He loves
those extra picks.
He likes those 5th and 6th rounders because you know why?
Yeah.
He likes to bunch them up to trade around because he's using the value chart.
Dude, we got 4 in the 160s this year. I think it was Emrace, my boy Emrace. Yeah, look, 161, 164, 165, 168. There's no way they take 4 picks in there.
Okay, let me show you what those are. Give me those again.
161, 164, 65, and 68.
27, 26, 25, and another 25. Okay, that's 125 points. He could take every one of those picks, 125, and he can move up and give those 5th round picks and move up to 24. Give him that. He could give all those 5th round picks and that 32nd pick to Minnesota to get up to that 24. Would you give up all your 5th rounders and that 32nd to move up to 24?
All your 5ths?
Yeah, because that's what's going to cost you.
Yeah. I don't think they would do that just because I think they're going to want to shake and bake in the later rounds. Like you heard Howie on his interview, or he did those questions yesterday. Saturday's his favorite day, dude. Like they like moving around, even if the players aren't as high caliber. If they get rid of 4/5, that means they're going to have a fourth on day 3, and that's it.
Okay, but here, follow me here though. How many picks do you think in the next 2 years he's going to use those 20 picks?
15, 16 maybe.
Okay,
so you could probably say it at 14, just average 7 a year,
Okay. All right. Let me give you my five.
What do you think they take? You think I'm high?
I don't think they're going to move up to 24. That's way too
high. I don't either. But I mean, like, how many picks do you think they're going to take in the next 2 years?
14. I think they'll go 7-7. Okay. I do. I think they'll end up doing that. By the way, we'll read supers at the end. Guys, hit that like button here. All right, let me give you my 5 guys. I think these 5 guys are here. If they're not, there's no, unless that Mike Green guy falls down off a cliff. And I'm going to put Mike Green out there because I think Howie threw out the bat signal. He went like this. He goes, Big Dom! Big Dom! Big Dom!
Are you kidding me?
Big
With
Dom!
the flashlight on cue? Look, you got to be kidding me.
Big Dom! Big Dom! Mike Green, look at him. All right. Malachi Starks, Georgia safety. Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky corner. James Pierce, edge. Derek Harmon, Oregon. And Walter Nolan, Ole Miss, defensive tackle. I think those 5 guys, because here, there's massive need at safety. There's a massive need at corner. I think we're all sitting here really, there's no massive need at edge because they won without it. If you guys are telling me, hey, Sills, fuck your mentality when it comes to like player development. Did we win the Super Bowl? Yeah. Did you win the Super Bowl, Xander, without a premier edge rusher?
Yeah, technically.
Why did that all of a sudden turn into a need now?
Well, because you did lose 2 bodies there. I mean, you got to repopulate, is the word John likes to use. You do. I mean, you lost.
Tell me they're replaceable?
Well, they're replaceable, but you still got to get bodies.
Okay.
You like an Azizio Jalari? Joshua Uche Kuchi.
Do you have 5 guys you like?
Or in the 3? Draft?
Yeah,
I can give you a couple.
What do you think they do down there?
I've been saying trade up for a month just because of what I explained to you, where I'm like, I don't think you want to wait for the board to fall to you in this draft at 32. And I think there's a chance you could miss out on all the guys that they like the Pierce, Nolan, Shamar Stewart, all of these dudes that could go. Even Malachi Starks could probably go. And then you're probably going to take a player that you don't want, or you don't want to take at that position or at that spot in the draft. So I like a trade up, Sills. But I don't like 24. Give me like 28. Jump to Commanders. Jump to Command. Don't let those efforts dictate your destiny. All right. Jump to Commanders. Who picks 28?
I think it's the Commanders. I think are 28, 29. I forget.
Like Commanders are 29.
Okay. They're going for an edge in this draft. Okay, they're going for an edge. So they need pass rush help. And plus you have what? Dan Quinn. Hey, don't be shocked if Malachi Starks ends up there too, because why also, man? Hey, I'd want to have him in the middle of my defense too, in my secondary back there.
Right.
So they're going defense. Or is there an offensive lineman that they truly love there? I doubt that they would take. I don't know, but because Tunsil, they put another guy on the other side. I don't know. I just for me, if there's not, do you think they're really in love with a guy down? How could you be in love?
I don't think so. I don't either. I haven't heard, even a couple of years ago, you got the sense early that they were in love with Jordan Davis. That they love Jalen Carter. I don't think they're in love with anybody, but the name that has come to the surface a lot, especially this week, is Walter Nolan for sure. You know, I know he's had a lot of hype for a couple of months, but a lot of it was unfounded. He wasn't on a top 30 visit. There was no rumblings from inside the organization or anything like that. Now I have John telling me he's hearing some things that Walter Nolan's the guy that they would like to get. That he's the guy they'd be willing to move up for if they did move up. So Nolan does appear to be the guy. I actually like that Nick Scorton as well from Texas A&M. I think he's a pretty good player. I think he's
going to go to second.
Yeah, I do too. Top of the second is, I think. So maybe he's available there at 32 if you're not able to trade back. Sleeper guy I like in this draft too is actually Benjamin Morrison. I know he had that injury, but I think he's a really good cornerback. I love the Gray's Able kid. I mean, that kid can really play. I like him a lot. Who else do I like? Mike Green. I told you I like Mike Green. I think he's the most talented edge rusher in the draft. But I don't know if he'll get taken. I don't know where he'll get taken. So there's a lot of good guys there, but 28 is the Lions. I don't think they're going to want to move back.
No. Folks at Penn State said that the Eagles talked to Tyler Warren, whatever that's worth.
What would you have to send? Ready? The 32, Dallas Goddard, Jahan Dotson, and how high could you get with that?
Well, where do you think he's going to go?
I think he goes.
What pick do you think he lands in, Tyler Warren?
So I keep saying top 15, but honestly, the more I look at the board, it could really be top 10.
Let's just take your 15.
Top 10.
Let's take your 15. Okay. The 15th pick is 1,050 value. You're at 590. You'd have to give your 32nd. You would have to give your second and third to move up to 15.
Well, what's Goddard worth if he's worth a 4? Let's just say
if he's worth the 4, then you're talking about going 32 Goddard and a second to get up to 15. Would you do that to get Tyler Warren? Do you love that player that much to do that?
I do. I don't think he's going to be there at 15 though.
Okay, think he goes higher. All right.
Well, look at the draft. I mean, do you think he gets past? I
don't understand. What I don't understand about this draft and how they look at it is doing this. Tight ends are so valuable in today's NFL, and yet they're devaluing them in the draft, and they don't pay them. I don't get it. I mean,
where was Brock Bowers drafted last year?
The Dolphins took him down there like a little bit outside, like 13, 14, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think this is his floor.
Get this.
His floor.
Get this. And like Bowers may have been the best player in last year's draft.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I agree with Inferno, who says, though, that 14, I think that's the floor for Tyler Warren.
Going to the Colts. Get this. So you're Tyler Warren. You're going to the Colts with no quarterback. Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. Jesus criminy. You talk about going to shitty places. That's an example of going to a shitty place. Now, you got Shane Steichen there. By the way, Anthony Richardson will not start the season as a starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. He is the next Trey Lance, in my opinion, where he went in the draft as high as he went.
Who's the next Trey Lance?
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah, he's already done.
Dimes Jones is going to start there.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson's done there. Anybody who thinks otherwise is wrong. He's done.
Who are your top 3 players if they're sitting down there? Who would you take, and who would you? I think if one of those my 5 guys aren't there, I think they're out of there. I think they're going to move out, and I think they're going to be exceptionally active on days 2 and 3. Like you're going to see a bunch of movement.
Yeah, there's no doubt you'll see a lot of movement, but.
Yeah,
who are your 5? You never read off your 5 to me. Walter Nolan.
Derek Harmon, Oregon DT.
Yeah, I like him.
James Pierce, Tennessee edge. Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky corner. And Malachi Starks, Georgia safety. Those are my 5.
I'd probably limit that down to 3. I'd get rid of Hairston. I like the player, but I don't think they're going to take him at 32. I wouldn't take him at 32. I think if he falls in the second, that could be an option. But
so you're sold on Adoree Jackson?
No, I'm not sold on Adoree Jackson. I just think at that spot you got to get the edge first. I in my mock, I picked up Benjamin Morrison in the 2nd round because I think he's going to fall down there because that injury. I think he's a high upside player. They're going to address cornerback, I think, at least. So, I don't know where they're going to do that, but they are going to do that. I'm not huge on Hairston, though. So, I can see him taking a line.
I'm looking at value and need.
All right, ready? Here's my 3. Walter Nolan. Gray Zabel, offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a slam dunk at 32 if he falls. And do I go Malachi Starks? Probably. I'll go 4. I'll go Malachi Starks and I'll go James Pierce.
So if you go Malachi Starks, I said this. You have Malachi Starks. So you have Q at one corner. You have Reed Blankenship at the other. You're praying Sidney Brown wins that job. You got Cooper. No, you put Malachi maybe in the slot. And then you put Cooper outside. So you have Cooper DeJean and Q playing your corners. Your safeties are Malachi and Reed, and Brown maybe in the slot. Maybe that's a better position for him because he's more of an active guy, like a linebacker back there, than he is really a corner or a true safety. Maybe you put him in a role and you create a role for him back there. You move him into that slot. You move Cooper out in the number. And get this, what you get here, Xander. You're paying what you did with the 22nd pick a year ago, $3 million. Reed, you're saying, is going to get anywhere between 8 and 10. You got Brown on a third-round contract, which is making 1.5. You've got Cooper making on a second-round contract $2 million. And if you get this kid, Malachi, at 32, you're paying that guy 2.7. So for the next 5 years, 2.7, 2, 1.5, 8, Reed, and $3 million for Q. You're not only secure for the next 4 years, the back end of your would be the cheapest secondary, but with the highest upside of anybody in the league, and you're paying less than $20 million for all 4 positions of 5 if you're counting a nickel.
Well, the chicken's going to come home to roost eventually back there.
That's going to be a number in about 5 years, boy. You're going to have to make some tough calls here, but
absolutely.
Kind of what they're doing right now. They're looking at the best value for the money. Money is a factor for them. You see Gardner Johnson talking shit today again, what he said?
No, what he said?
He goes like this, I still can't get over the trade. I don't know what happened. Like, bro, if you don't know what happened, that's why you were traded. He's still in shock.
Bro, like I'm done with CJ Gardner. Like, all right, dude. I mean, holy shit. It's like the fucking guy who doesn't shut up at recess because he's
brokenhearted.
Dude, yeah, move on. You're in a good organization in Houston. Go ball out. Do what you got to do. Go make another contract. Quit crying about Philadelphia and the Eagles. Holy moly. And the dude, like, here's the thing I laugh at. The dude goes out and tweets like, 2 straight Super Bowls with my – oh, yeah. I'm sure that you were the only reason the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl in the 2 years that they went. It wasn't Saquon Barkley. It wasn't the offensive line. It wasn't Zach Bond or Jalen Carter or any of the other guys, right? Right, CJ Gardner-Johnson? Like, all right, dude. I've never bashed them because I don't have a problem with them.
He's a product.
I'm just done with it, dude. It's just annoying.
He's a product of circumstances. That's what he is.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, it means this. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Well, no, yeah. I'm
not saying he's not good.
He was valuable. I think he was valuable. But
I got it.
I mean, dude, how much longer are you going to cry about your ex? You know?
I got it. Yeah,
move on, big dog.
That's right, man. There's other little fishies out there, right, Sue? All right.
Xander, chill on my dog, CJ. He loves the city and just feel it. I don't think he loves the city, bro, at all. All right? I don't.
Hey, so you don't think they draft a quarterback in this draft?
I'm warming to that idea. That makes a lot of sense to me. You got a quarterback at your backup right now that some people think has trade value. I think it's a 5th or a 6th, but some people tell me it's
you don't really like him that much, do you?
Tanner McKee?
Yeah.
I mean, what can I just ask?
You just rolled your shoulders. Tanner McKee?
Well, I mean, what has this guy done to make people like act like he's the next like great quarterback in the league? I think he's a solid guy. I think he's all right.
the backup quarterback is usually the most popular player on the roster because they're waiting to talk shit on the starter because he makes the most money.
Yeah.
That's why they would never consider drafting Jalen Milroe. Or they would – I heard you say that today. You think they're going to try to duplicate that thing with Milroe like they did with Hurts
I
and
don't.
Wentz?
I don't. But I'll say this. I'll say this. Take out your Eagle objective fandom, everybody. All right. And I saw this dude make a post on Facebook, and he's like, I promise you, if Jalen Milroe's there at 64, the Eagles will take him. Jalen Hurts was not performing good enough last year in this $150 million offense. When you're in the NFL, you got to have turnover. Paying premiums for mediocrity is not going to cut it. This team will draft Jalen Milroe. Now, I didn't agree with the guy's sentiment, but I will say I did sit here and think, we talk about cap crunch.
Is he related to me?
You just it might have been a Sileo burner, baby. It might have been a Sileo burner.
Sileo knew how to make a burner finally.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, from a business standpoint, remember, he is the most expensive player on the team. I'm not trying to take a knock on the quarterback, but if you need to get better and you feel like you can get better or stay the same or improve cheaper, that's what businesses do. So, I'm just saying I wouldn't rule it out completely. Anytime you have a team that has a quarterback making what they're making, if they're not doing everything they can continuously to keep that job, they could be gone soon. I mean, you see it happen all the time. So I'm just saying I wouldn't rule it out. I think a quarterback in the 4th or 5th is more likely. I think one of those 5ths will be on a quarterback, maybe a Kyle McCord.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can see them using one of them 5ths on a QB. I think everybody should always draft a quarterback. You never know when you land on Brady or Purdy.
Yeah. See, this is why I originally don't think – well, I originally, Luther, I didn't think they were going to draft a quarterback. But I'm warming to the idea because quarterback factory, baby. But are you assuming we trading Tanner because we traded for the QB from Cleveland? That's right. We also do have that guy we picked up, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So maybe they wouldn't draft a quarterback. Both of those guys are under contract for 2 more years.
What if you trade Tanner to New Orleans?
Let me guess. We're getting a first for Tanner to New Orleans.
A 4th, like a 5th or 6th.
Yeah, so you take a 5th rounder to be your 3rd string.
Yeah, and you got your guy that you got from Cleveland.
Yeah, there you go. They battle it out for 2nd and 3rd, and there you go. Now you got a cheap quarterback under contract.
Like if I got a 5th for Tanner, he was a 7th round fucking pick.
I just think next year makes more sense for the quarterback because you have 2 young players. Like they're not. I don't think they're going to go back down the Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota route. I think they're going to choose to be cheap at the backup quarterback. So the way to do that is to take a 5th or a 6th round draft pick every 4 years, basically. So you still have 2 years of McKee and Dorian. I think probably next year is when the quarterback will come late.
Hit that like button, guys. We'll do your supers here in a second here. So, dude, what's up? Where's Goddard? What's up with Goddard? Where are we going here with this? What's up with this guy? I mean, what are they doing? I mean, would we not agree that position this offseason has been the most secretive of what they want to do, what they don't want to do? They are not telling you anything. I mean, dude, are they in a contract squabble with him? Are they not? Have they offered anything? What is on is there anything on the table? Is Goddard telling you F off? Or are the Eagles telling you to F off? Are there any communications? What's going on here?
We are getting nothing from this. What
does that tell you that when you're not getting anything?
If I had to guess, I would say Goddard's holding out because they only want to give him a year or 2, maybe even just 1. Like they probably said to him, we'll guarantee your money for this year. And then after that, we won't. And he probably is knowing he's 30. He wants another 3-year deal with bigger guaranteed money. Eagles aren't going to give him it. So I think there's a contract stalemate there. And that's why they've went out and signed the 2 guys that they did, whatever you think they are, Kylan Granson and Harrison Bryant. But so that could be it. But I don't know. I mean, what are they waiting for?
I don't know.
Well, June 1, that's what they're waiting for. Because if they move them before June 1st, they lose $9 million. If they trade them after June 1st, they pick up like $4 million. So it's a $13 million swing.
So, is his contract up?
Who, Goddard? No, he has a
Yeah.
year left.
He has a year left on his current
He's under
deal.
contract. Like you could technically bring him back and James Bradbury him.
Okay, so the franchise tag for a tight end is $13 million. I'm just saying, void the last year, give him 13. He could play 1 year and then go be a free agent where you want to be. Why not do that?
Move, but maybe that would insinuate the Eagles are the ones who don't want to tango, because you're right. Why wouldn't they have done that?
Well,
I mean, tag. So I don't know.
Get this, the tag's cheaper than what they're paying him.
I know.
So it would be a deal for them.
Yeah, right.
And then he would be able to
have cap manipulation on that, though.
Hey, dude, all I'm saying is, isn't the best option keeping him? If you got 1 year left on a $15 million deal for a guy who led the team in pass catching in the postseason, doesn't it make sense to pay that guy $50? Now, I want to ask you one question, though, on this here with this. So you tell me what they think of the valuing of that tight end position. I'm going to show you something here. So the wide receiver position, number 3, and Goddard and Calcaterra combined had 68 catches a year ago. Is that $15 million? Absolutely not. Jahan Dotson, this is what they had. Dotson, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, Anis Smith, and Britton Covey. They had 44 catches. I mean, I'm not spending any money on wide receiver 3, and I'm not caring about tight end any longer. Am I?
Doesn't seem like it.
68 catches. And they won here. And they won the Super Bowl.
Deshae, is he right or what? Every offensive starter on the team is signed except for Goddard. Dude had the most catches in the playoffs. Pay him, LOL. He is right. Like, if you're Goddard, you have a right to be feeling some type of way. Like, all right, dude, you fucking paid everybody on this day. Everybody except the right guard. And you can't give me a $14 million peanut after leading your team in receptions in the playoff. He's probably like, man, this is BS. Get me out of here.
That sounds to me like Hassan Reddick crying. I had 30 sacks. In 2 years, I destroyed Purdy's shoulder.
Well, good. If it's Hassan Reddick, you better learn from it, Goddard.
Yeah, because then he goes to the Jets. I still don't get it, though, man. He goes to Tampa, gets $11.5 million.
What the heck?
Deal.
Well, I'm happy for him,
Hey, okay, yeah. I don't. So, do you agree that, fuck, man? I mean, they don't really look at that wide receiver 3 and tight end. I think they're shifting in their idea of running the football and being a dominant team. Last one here for you. Is there any concern? Is your number one objective right now to protect Hurts or to protect Goddard? Or protect Barkley? Because you know why? If you're taking a security blanket away in Dallas Goddard and you're bringing in Harrison Bryant,
Sileo on his BS again.
Hey, wait a minute. You're taking the number one pass target away.
Oh no.
Because
he's not the number one pass target.
Wait, in the postseason he was.
Oh
and
my God.
What they're doing is they are protecting Barkley with the tight ends who they've signed. They want run blockers. To me, it sounds like they're protecting Barkley more than they are Hurts, because they've declined a 5th-year option on Dotson, and they're getting rid of Goddard. How's that helping the passing game?
All right, let's go and check this sucker out. He did not lead the team in the Green Bay playoff game. Let's see. Did he lead the team in the Rams playoff game? He did lead the team in the Rams playoff game with a 56 yards receiving. That was the game we only had like 60 total passing yards. Did he lead in the Washington game? I think that was his big game. Nope, he didn't lead in that. A.J. Brown did, and I know he didn't lead in the Super Bowl because he only had like 30 yards. Nope, that was Devontae Smith. So the guy led the team for one game of the playoffs. He's expendable, and he will now be gone in the salary cap crunch, in the meat grinder of the Eagles salary cap.
To protect Barkley and make sure Barkley's got all the pieces around him, because that's the guy in the huddle. That's the guy. You don't win the Super Bowl without that guy.
Nah, you're protecting your quarterback, though.
Oh, by taking pieces away? No. Okay.
Who did they take away?
Dallas Goddard had the most catches of anybody. See what he did, folks?
Deshae, look at what you did, bro.
What he
Look
did?
at what you did, Deshae.
He skewed it. He
Look
went
at
with
what
yards.
you've done,
He
Deshae.
went with yards instead of catches.
They just
You see,
paid another
always
guard.
remember,
They
Big
gave him the
Sills-
best O-line in football.
Big Sills digs it out. You're damn right it was the best O-line. Wasn't the best pass protecting O-line. The quarterback took 47 sacks. Yeah. Did he
took
not?
a lot of those because he's a dual threat. I mean, that's
Oh,
what happened.
dual threat. There
Dual
you
threat,
go.
Super Bowl dual threat, buddy. It's that Super Bowl MVP to you, buddy.
Let's read those freaking super
All right,
chats there, man.
I don't
Get
think
'em.
they're. I think naturally they're protecting both players because they're signing the offensive line and that helps both players. But you're not wrong. I mean, they signed a guard or the center, and they
traded for a guard.
Well, hey, people tell me Dallas Goddard, he's the greatest blocking tight end ever. Maybe they're not protecting Saquon anymore. They want Jalen to get the ball outside the numbers to A.J. Brown and Devontae Moore.
Yeah. Well, let's see if that happens. Because of the great prolific pocket passer there. I'm sure that number will go. By the way, remember this, folks, and remember this as we read these supers here. I want you to know the less passing yards and touchdowns that Jalen Hurts has passing, the more success you have. Okay? Just remember that. His two most successful years are his least productive years.
So guys, remember, Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. It doesn't have to look the way Sileo wants it to look.
Hey, I'm not making that comment. All I'm saying is if Jalen touches the ball less, has 18 touchdowns, 9 picks, 20 touchdowns and 6 picks, and 3,200 yards and 2,900 yards, whatever, the more he's in that room, that gives you the best chance. And that's as Xander says, that's the Eagle formula. Gotcha.
I'll tell you what's the Jalen Hurts formula. You know, in Washington, Kyle Kokorski says last year Washington drafted Stormy Daniels. Hilarious. Thank you, Kyle Kokorski, for the super chat. I'll tell you something funny. So I saw this goofy ass video floating on my feed yesterday of Jaden Daniels like running into it was like the first day of school or something. I'm like, all right, Jaden, that's pretty cute. And then I saw some guy dubbing and said, yeah, you don't have to run into the building when you're Jalen Hurts and you show up at 4:45 in the morning before anybody else shows up. Jaden Daniels is jogging in like a grade schooler into the facility, and the Washington fans are eating it up. Isn't this a sign, though? Right? These guys haven't won in 20 years, man. They haven't even won a playoff game in more than 20 years.
20? It's more like
Super Bowl is like 30, but playoff game I think is 20, right?
Okay.
So
shit. They haven't been to a playoff. I mean, they haven't been to a Super Bowl since like the 90s, dude. Like 90. I mean, it's been.
So they're all jacked up about their quarterback jogging
let's
into
just
work.
put it to you this way: they haven't been to a Super Bowl since they've been in that shit house of a stadium they're in Landover, Maryland. Okay, I mean, they haven't been to a Super Bowl since when they were over at RFK.
Dude, look at Eduardo. Eduardo, I could not agree with you more on this. He says, I get nervous watching Daniels play, man. Every time he gets to running, I feel like with one good hit, and that's all she wrote for Buddy.
Hey, man, he is 1-2 versus you dudes.
Dude, he is a small dude, though, man. Dude, imagine if Fred Warner taking that guy's head off or the greatness of the bald eagle, Zach Bond, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm with you, Eduardo.
They haven't won a Super Bowl since Jerome was alive.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long
that's
time.
90. That's 90, like 4.
Well, you could see it. You know, James Jones is a fan of the Eagles because of this. You know, he tells himself he's a Commander fan, but he legitimately is an Eagle fan. So that's what happens. Most of them have flocked away from the fan base, but they'll probably flock back because they went last year. And, you know, then once this short stint of half decent mediocrity ends, they'll all be back on the Eagles bandwagon. Timbos, are we prepared to lose Starks to Washington?
Starks to Washington, 28, 29?
That doesn't scare me, bro.
Nothing scares Xander and the Eagles right now, man. Even all the players that they.
No, that's not true.
You think they win the Super Bowl as of right now?
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Well, the odds would say probably not, but I think they have a really good chance to contend again. Yes.
You think they'll be one of the top 4 teams at the end
I
of the
do.
day?
I think they'll be one of the top two.
You
I
think
think
they
they'll
make
be
the Final Four, the division, or you think they make the division Final Four? Rams, them, Bucks, Packers. That sound right? Those 4? Oh, Detroit. Rams, Eagles, Detroit. And who would be that 4th team?
for the divisions. What division are we
No,
leaving out?
what
You
would
got
be
the
your
South,
Final
you got the
Four?
East.
What would be your Final 4 teams going into the divisional rounds? Then you go into the conference title
Oh,
game.
right. Yeah, Eagles.
Eagles, Detroit,
I
LA.
think the Commanders could still be there, just like they were last year. It doesn't have to be one NFC East team. I think it could be both.
That sounds
I'm not
right.
going to put them there though.
Washington.
I'm not going to put them there. I'm going to go Rams. I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going to go Lions, and I'm going to go. Who's the surprise team in the NFC this year?
Bucks.
Nobody in the South. Nah, maybe the Bucks.
The Bucks play well too.
I already picked the Rams of the West, and I don't see any of the other West teams being that great. Packers or Bucks? Yeah, I'd probably go Bucks just because I like Baker.
Washington, Detroit, Rams, and Philly. That would be your strong bet on being your 4. But I'm going to take Washington. No, because I'm with John McMullen. Washington will win the East. So
No, they won't. That is an insane take by you.
Hey,
Washington will finish 3rd in the NFC East this year.
What? John McMullen picked it.
I don't give a shit what John McMullen picked.
Washington
will finish 3rd in the NFC East this year.
Can you imagine if Philly finished 3rd behind the Dallas Cowboys?
Philly will not finish 3rd. Philly will finish 1st.
Washington.
Imagine thinking a team with Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Reed Blankenship would finish 3rd in the NFC.
Reed Blankenship you have in the category of Lane in them?
You waited for the one fucking name you could pounce on.
See how he slipped that in there on you guys?
For the one name you could pounce on.
He slipped Reed Blankenship in between Mailata and Lane.
Come on, man. I got to slip a milkman in there. Reed, baby.
You are learning way too good, man. Holy
shit.
Kidding
me, man?
He slipped Reed in there between Mailata and Lane. Hey, any more supers, dude?
The exciting whites slipping in there. He didn't. Sileo bought the DeJean one. He did not buy the Reed. Good ship one.
Reed in
lucky
there.
I didn't throw a Keely Ringo in there, baby.
Keely Ringo.
For Sidney Brown.
Oh,
here we go. We got more supers. Kimbo again. Taylor's dad played for Miami with Saban. High IQ. Yes. I like Mason Taylor.
Yeah.
I'd move up from 64 to 50 and take Mason Taylor.
Jimmy Johnson drafted Jason Taylor.
That's right.
Did you know that?
Jason Taylor had a dope career.
Get this. Jason Taylor was a 3rd-round pick. And Jimmy found him off the value chart. And he also found the linebacker who ended up in the 5th round going to the Hall of Fame. So that's why you talk about a guy who knows what he's doing in drafting. He looked at the chart. Jason Taylor, dude, was a 3rd-round pick. And Zach Thomas was a 5th-round pick. And Jimmy took them, and they're Hall of Famers. Jimmy took Larry Allen in the 7th round. Best guard in the history of the game. Mailata may go down as one of the top.
That's crazy,
20,
dude.
That may go down as one of the top greatest offensive tackles in the NFL history. And he was a 7th-round pick.
He's got a ways to go to get there, yeah. But that is crazy.
I said one of the top 20 guys all time.
Oh, top 20. Yeah, I agree with that.
All time.
Yeah, that's wild. From the 7th round, baby. I love it. Jeff Bone. Oh, we got that. Yeah, did you see that? The Dotson 5th-year option was declined.
Oh, wow. Really?
Where is Jordan?
Hey. How you doing?
Jordan.
What's his name? Ojamala? The guy who cut loose? That guy was better. The guy who played in Washington a year ago was better than
what is your gripe now with the Jomo? The guy's a 7th rounder playing well above where he was drafted. That's a great story, and you're crying about him like a sissy. What are you talking about, Ojamala?
I like him. No. Jahan was the 17th player taken. He's
Jahan's nothing.
Hey, so wait. They're moving on from him. This is his last year. Do you think they move him?
Yeah,
you couldn't get a box. You couldn't get a box of thumbtacks for that guy.
For who?
Yeah, Nazi. Come on, man.
No, and Howie sent a 3rd for him. That was like the worst trade I've ever. I think he owed. I honestly think Howie owed Adam Peters something from some point in their careers, and he said, "Yeah, I'll take this guy for a 3rd. I'll give you. I will get fleeced publicly for you to start your GM career and look good that you fleeced the best general manager in football. I owe you." Now it's back to business, and now you see what Adam Peters is up to this year. He has a drastic fall off from year 1 to year 2. His moves this offseason have been putrid. He aged his team 4 years with their signings. That was all bad moves by Peters in Washington.
So he's added players, how he's cut loose players, and you think the Eagles are going to have a better year or as good a year.
That Javon
they
went from Jonathan Allen
to
Javon Kinlaw.
So, wait a minute.
Sileo thinks they're better.
You haven't added anything except some garbage pails, and you think you're going to be in the same room where you were a year ago on defense.
All right, so last year we beat him, what was it, 55-2
hey,
in the NFC title game?
At least I'm not. Well,
what do you think it's going to be this year, Sills?
That team, you don't have – that team's bye-bye, dog. You put that team on a float and send it out to sea.
Who?
That 2024 Super Bowl champion Eagle team got sent out to sea, bro.
The entire offense is back.
Oh, I said that team you sent out to sea
Wait a second. The team that just scored the most points in NFL playoff history.
And the team that shut down
the entire offense.
And a team that shut down the 3-time Super Bowl champion. And it made them look stupid. You sent that defense out to sea like they were a man without a country.
Yeah, sent them out to sea. The whole offense is back, Sileo.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you mean that prolific passing offense?
Did the Phillies lose? They were just winning 3-2. What happened extras?
Hey, what did I remember that? Remember that proclamation I made? Rob Thompson will be blown out by the end of the year.
You're right about that for sure. All right, Sills, good stuff, brother. I see the man Philly 500 in the chat. I'm looking forward to the segment.
No doubt about it, man. Don't forget, Michael Irvin's also going to join us on Friday too. So
thank you, Sills.
Xander, great stuff as always, mother.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
You got to recover from these ass beatings. That's 2 in a row, my friend.
You make it sound like it's Philly 500 beating up on Mark Holmes. Poor guy. Do the Cowboys even have a draft? You see Jerry Jones, a.k.a. Skeletor? See what he's doing out there, man? He's like, you watch the Cowboys move up to get the Cleveland pick and go get Travis Hunter. I think Jerry, because Jerry said it, this is his last year running the football team. All right. Where in the world is Philly 500 going to go tomorrow night in the draft at 32? I'm going to propose the same thing that I did to him when we get him on here in a second here. Do you think they move up? I've got the Jimmy Johnson value chart. And let's see if he has any moves on trading up. Let's bring him in now. Our great friend. I couldn't wait to get him on either. Here he is, the champ.
Hey, so you got Michael Irvin coming on, huh? Tell him for me that his daddy, Bobby Taylor, says hello.
I definitely will, man.
Tell him Bobby Taylor, his
Bobby
daddy,
Taylor
said hello. He shut him down back in the day. Bobby Taylor.
Bobby Taylor, man. Shot across the bow there, right there. All right. So let me ask you, man. I'm going to bring this value chart up to you here. There's some people speculating that the Eagles will move up to get a respected player. Are you one of those guys? As of right now, 24 hours before the NFL draft. How do you see Philadelphia when it comes to at least strategy? Not player-wise. Do you think they move up, out, stand pat?
I think they're moving up. I think they're moving up. I think it's typical Howie Roseman to move up here. And the reason why is you have a ton of teams trying to move back, right? And when everybody wants to move back, Howie, he goes the opposite direction. He'll find the value in that, and he'll move up. If he can move up and go higher than he normally could because teams want to go back, he's coming up. So I think if you can get, one of his targets up around 20, I would not be surprised to see him go up, way up.
Hey, Daz, just for your information, douchebag, okay? Howie said that he uses it with modifications. Go sit back in a corner with your cellophane hat on. How high do you want to go up? Okay, I mean, where are you looking? Rams at 26? Or do you want to go Minnesota at 24? How high do you think he goes?
I think somewhere in the 22 to 24 range is where I think he'll look.
Okay.
I think it'll be that.
Okay, so here's 24. The value of the pick is 740 points. You're at 32. That's 590. So you've got to make this and add another piece, obviously, to move up. So that would be a third rounder. And that would be your third rounder down at 94. That'd be 124. You're still a little light, so you're probably going to have to throw another fifth rounder in. That's 31. That puts you right at it. So to move up to 24, you're going to give your 32nd pick, your third round pick, and a fifth. Doing that for a player in this draft?
A third? No, well, something like that. What about a third round next year and a fifth this year? So 1-5 this
Minnesota
year.
needs picks this year.
Well, then you talk to somebody else. Or what's the discount? Because I don't think that the going rate is going to be what it normally is, because I think more teams are looking to move back. So I think that you're going to be able to get it at a discount. So discount 10% of that. Make it a fourth round pick. And we're good.
Okay, hold on. Let me see how that comes out. Okay, again, you heard Howie talking 2 weeks ago, Philly, about value.
Right.
Player, ability, and value. So
Right.
if you want to use the fourth they have, okay, let's use their fourth. So you have to give their 32nd pick, and you want to give the fourth, okay? Their fourth is 180. Okay, that's 6, 7. You're still 100 shy. So you got to go down into the fourth round again. Maybe they package up some of them. So you're going to have to give 2 4s and your 32 to go.
But I'm giving up. I want to give picks next year. I don't want to just all be picks this year. So I got all those picks next year. I got all those thirds. I want to use one of those picks to get in there. So a team's going to have to be willing to take a pick the following year.
Well, how about this? I mean, how many picks in the next 2 years do you think he's using out of the 20?
What, 10? I mean, he's not gonna use 20 picks. That's my whole point. He's not going to use 20 picks. And if you look at where the value is going up because everybody wants to go back. People are going to be calling the Eagles to go back. So I think the value is trading up. I know what the charts say, but you got to look at what teams are trying to do.
Now, what I would say to you is, and you're not wrong, and I'll say this to you, like you're sitting down there at 32. This is what I would hope happened. That Jackson Dart, Shador Sanders haven't been drafted yet, or Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
And you're at 32. Because listen to this. The value at 33 is 580. The value at 32 is 590. Cleveland drops down to the 32nd pick to draft a quarterback, and they get Travis Hunter. You take the 33rd. You would have to take the 33rd and possibly a 7th rounder for you to be able to do that. I would say this to you, okay, because it's the quarterback. I'm going to need something else because the
Right.
quarterbacks are more valued. To your point, instead of just giving a 7th rounder my 32nd to move back to the first player taken in the 2nd round at 33, and he's a quarterback, I think the quarterbacks have to still be on the board for that to have value. Do you agree?
Yeah, if you had wanting a team to go from the 2nd back to the 1st, yeah, I agree.
See, to me, again, I don't want to make it too complicated here, but I don't think this draft, and here's my 5 guys. Maybe you have somebody different. I don't think there's a ton of guys that excite me if these guys aren't on the board sitting at 32. I got Malachi Starks. I got Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, Kentucky. I got James Pierce, Tennessee edge. I got Derek Harmon, Oregon defensive tackle, and Walter Nolan at defensive tackle. I think one of those 5 guys could potentially be your guy sitting at 32. Now, I'm going to throw this out to you. I think there's an asterisk. Didn't you find it weird? Howie Roseman is a guy who never, ever telegraphs anything. The one thing he telegraphed in this draft was this: Big Dom is the most important guy in the building. And it's true, because without Big Dom vetting these guys and signing off, these guys never get in the building. Okay, so he is important. Isn't he telegraphing Mike Green a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? I thought about that at the time too. Like, could that be what he's talking about? But you don't know. You just don't know. I don't know.
What are your 3 guys down there at 32 that you would take?
At 32, see, none of the guys I think that I want to make it to 32. So they have to move up. But the guys I want, I would say Malachi Starks, James Pierce Jr., and then the kid from Boston College, the Razco guy, kid, whatever his name is.
Yep.
Those are my 3 guys. And then Walter Nolan would be 4. But I like those are my kind of like 4 guys. I don't think any of them make it to 32. Maybe Malachi Starks does, but I don't think most of them are making it. So I think the Eagles are going to have to go up and get one of these guys.
You think they draft a quarterback in this draft?
Maybe late.
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
late.
not. Yeah, I like
probably. I would say probably not, but I would expect them to sign undrafted free agent quarterback or 2.
Why don't you? I mean, you think you could dangle Tanner out there for the Saints? You think you can dangle him out there like 5th, 6th rounder?
I think we're a year away. I think
year
in another
away.
year. Yeah.
Help me out on this one here, brother. Now, I got some intel here. So I asked Mario Cristobal just a couple of minutes ago, when the Eagles were down there at Pro Day, did they talk to Arroyo, the tight end? He said they did. They had a long, lengthy conversation with him. And I talked to Joy Taylor a couple of minutes ago, too. Mason Taylor's met with the Eagles. So it may not be public that the Eagles are doing a lot of work, but this Dallas Goddard thing is perplexing because, I mean, Jesus criminy, dude. I mean, the best option is the guy in the building. Right. And you don't seemingly have a plan here. I mean, where are you on this thing with Goddard?
I'm with you. I think that the best option is to keep him. I don't see how that hurts you to keep him. If you can work out a contract for 1 more year, keep him, draft a guy in the 2nd, 3rd round, whenever, and then let them learn under Goddard for a year. I don't see the reason in taking him and getting rid of him this year. I think it's the same thing with CJ Gardner-Johnson. It's like 1 year too early. You don't need to do that right now. So I agree. Goddard, to me, staying is the best option.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't get it here unless it's all again over cash. And I'm gonna show you this here. You're spending $230 million on 9 guys on offense. 9 of your 11. Your cap is 270, bro. I mean,
yeah.
You know, and it's funny. I did an exercise yesterday. Do you know from the 2020 draft to the 2022 draft, 3 drafts, there won't be one guy on that who was drafted on defense that got to a 2nd contract. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you giving? Wait a minute.
Crazy.
Are you giving Jordan Davis a second contract?
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm giving it to him.
So
I'm giving it to him.
You're going to pay him $18 million.
No,
That's the
I'm not
number.
paying him $18 million. I'm not
That's
paying
the
him
number.
$18 million. He doesn't. Who's going to pay him $18 million?
That's the
I'm
number.
going to tell him, hey, Jordan Davis, you could go anywhere. Nobody's paying you $18 million. Why am I paying you $18 million? I think you get him a discount. I think it's a discount.
The fifth year option's 12.5.
Yeah, 12.5 is good. That's about right.
Well, if
Right
you
now-
sign a 3-year contract, that number's got to be north of that 5th-year option, doesn't it?
I mean, $18 million. I mean, you got to earn. No, you have to earn it. It's on
I
some
agree.
level. You have to
I
earn
agree
it.
for a guy who only plays 20 plays.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to earn it. So I don't know how Jordan Davis can come to the negotiating table for an extension and say, I need $18.5 million, is what I'm saying. I don't think he's got a leg to stand on with that, you know? So if that's the case, you pick up his option year, you let him play this year, and then let's renegotiate, or let's see what you do this year. But I mean, I think you could sign him much cheaper than that, is what I'm saying, because he can't ask for $18.5 million. That's crazy.
What if they draft 2 defensive tackles that are notable run stoppers? You think that's the end of him?
Bye. I think if they draft Walter Nolan, he's gone. He'll play 1 more year, and that'll probably be it.
And they'll drop down Moro Jomo back in that rotation role, right?
Probably. Oh yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Are you giving Nakobe Dean an extension?
Yeah. I am. He's another guy that I don't
He started 19 of 51 games.
I don't why would I give him when he's on the field? He's great if he could just stay healthy.
He was the Carson Wentz of this past offseason. He didn't need him to win a Super Bowl.
It worked out that way, yeah. But still, when he played, I mean, he was playing at a Pro Bowl level. I thought the games he played, he was a real tone setter early in games. I think he's another guy you're not going to have to pay top 3, top 5 money to, because with all those injuries and all those games missed, I don't see how he could ask for a ton of money. It's just me.
I love you, man, the way that you went, because he's an Eagle. You know, he's going to give you that hometown discount. These agents are going to go, hey, you just gave a guy $17 million, and the guy was pretty good himself, that he's not going to command at least $12 to $13 million.
I'm not saying you don't pay him something, but you know, look, you ain't going to sit there with me and tell me, hey, I need all this money. I want I'm Jordan Davis. I pay 20 snaps a game. I want $18 million. What? No, nobody's going to pay that, just like Nakobe Dean. So to me, if I'm Nakobe Dean, maybe you sign him to a short term. Maybe you just give him a 1-year extension. I don't know, but I'm not losing these guys. I gotta keep these guys if I can.
Yeah, but Philly, I had a good spirited conversation yesterday with Xander. Their mentality is, name me one guy that's on the current roster right now that has received a second contract. They don't believe in that. You let 2 guys roll out. You let 2 guys roll out the window. What?
You mean defensively?
Yeah. Reed? Okay.
Defensively, yeah, I have to think about that. I mean, everybody's so young now, but if you look at the guys they had,
Milton Williams was 25. Milton Williams is 25 to let him roll out.
Yeah, but to me, that's why Jordan Davis stays. To me, if you don't want Jordan Davis, you're not letting Milton Williams out the door.
Milton Williams is better.
Well, then why would I have not signed Milton Williams?
Because they didn't want to pay the 26.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that what that signified to me was that they didn't give up on Jordan Davis. That's how I perceived it.
How about this one here? Do you realize that Bryce Huff makes $1.5 million more than what Josh Sweat got in Arizona?
Yeah, that's the one thing that's killing us right now. This Bryce Huff thing kills us, man. It really does.
Don't you agree? If Bryce Huff is not on that payroll, they probably keep Josh Sweat.
Yeah, maybe, or CJ Gardner-Johnson, for that matter. But he's gone. I do not think he'll be an Eagle when the season starts.
So who do you have them? You have them moving up for who?
See, to me, it depends how high they go. Like, the higher they go, the more it's an edge rusher. If it's like 3, 4, 5 slots, it's for Malachi Starks. If it's higher than that, it's for like James Pierce Jr. I'll go James Pierce Jr. Big trade up for James Pierce Jr. How about
James
that?
Pierce Jr. Would you
Yeah.
ever move up to Tyler Warren?
If he got past 16, I'd start calling.
I think
right
you're
away.
right. I think if he's between, because you remember this, can you imagine if they would have turned around? Now, look, I get it. You're right. Q turned out to be exceptional. Who would you rather have? Brock Bowers or Quinyon Mitchell? I'd rather have that guy in the Raiders because I think he's the best tight end in the league.
Yeah,
He's
really freaking good.
He is
He's
good.
good.
Can you imagine him in that offense for the next 5
Yeah.
years on a rookie deal?
Yeah, I know. But there's no way Warren, right? I mean, everything I see, he's going to the Jets, which means he's going to suck. His career's over. You go to the Jets, it's over. Forget it. It's over.
Hey,
Jets drafting a tight end in the round 1 is something they've done a lot. And they've
what if
all
Colston
sucked.
Loveland is down there at 26?
I like Loveland a lot. I don't know what they think of him, though. Like, I haven't really heard anything about the Eagles than him. I heard that they worked him out. They talked to him when they were in Michigan, but I haven't really heard whether they like him. I like him. I think he would be a good fit for the Eagles, to be honest with you.
So what are you doing for the draft tomorrow?
I'm streaming it. I'll be right here sitting my butt right on this chair, streaming and yelling at the TV, laughing at Dallas when they blow up, when they blow it. We're going to be screaming it.
What about the Cowboys? What about the Cowboys wanting to trade up to get Travis Hunter?
I think you're stupid. To me, listen, the move for the Cowboys is Genty. That's the move for them. If there's one guy that I say, okay, I don't want him on the Cowboys, it's Genty. Because I think he gives them an instant run game. And that's an instant dimension they don't have offensively. I mean, they have nobody on offense that scares me at all. Now you add him to the piece, I think that would be the worst case scenario, is if they added him. So they could go after Hunter. That doesn't bother me. What is he going to play, corner or receiver? He's not playing both.
He's not.
So
he's going to play corner.
Well, then that really doesn't scare me. Let him tackle Saquon. Good luck with that. You know what I mean?
Hey, but, here. I got one last one here for you. So here was a take by a GM that I know very well. NFL assistant coach. It wasn't assistant coach. It was a general manager. Said this about Shador Sanders. The worst interview I've ever been a part of in my life. He's so entitled. He takes awful sacks. He never plays on time. He blames teammates for failure. But the biggest thing of all is he's not an elite talent. You think that guy gets drafted in the first round, or do you think that guy falls out of the first round?
I don't know what to think of the whole thing. I mean, I don't remember a guy where
I do think there's a lot of shit being talked on him.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't remember another player coming out of the draft that's like supposed to go top 5. And then all of a sudden we're talking about him going from top 5 to not even in the first round. That's a pretty big jump, right? And in a draft like this, the entitled part, I wonder. Look, he's Deion's son, right? Came up. I mean, it was probably nice and easy living. He didn't have to worry about anything. I can see that being a problem. That's why I wonder about him somewhere like New York. But talent-wise, I think the kid's talented. I think he's got talent. I think the guy, again, remember something. Russell Wilson was a 3rd rounder. Joe Montana, a 3rd rounder. Tom Brady was a 6th rounder. It's where you go more so than what round you go. You have a good organization around you. Like if he goes to Pittsburgh, that sounds right to me, where that could be something where Mike Tomlin would embrace the dad, because who wouldn't? I would. I don't have a problem with him being Deion's kid. Okay, the only problem, not that.
I have a problem with this. He's paved the yellow brick road out at Jackson State, at Colorado. Everything's been perfect. When he goes to one of these shitty teams, bro, you ain't gonna have good players around you. You're not gonna have your dad cleaning your mess up for you, and you can't blame anybody but yourself. And veteran guys are not going to tolerate you blaming O-line guys. They're going to sit your ass down and tell you the way it is. We're all in this together, guy.
The best thing that could happen to him may be that he drops. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it may be something
Like
especially,
Roethlisberger did.
yeah, it may be the best case scenario for him. Give him a little bit of an edge. I don't know. But, I mean, I wonder about him. I do, because I wonder, could he handle the stresses of New York? Like when they start losing and losing, which they're going to keep doing because they stink. So, you know, what is he going to do? How's he going to handle it? You know?
Make sure you send your boy Mark Holmes a note, because he's been dodging me.
I was on a stream with him yesterday, and
he's been dodging me. He's like, I guess because he comes on there and he gets his ass destroyed. That it's a typical cowboy.
He brings it on himself. He brings it on himself.
I know he does, because you know what he's talking about? Through the world champion offseason, they've won more offseason Super Bowl trophies than any team in NFL history. But absolutely, when September 8th comes, then the bullshit starts again. Reality hits, and they're back in the toilet again. I mean, you watch. That team this year will be another 7-win team.
Genty, if they don't get Genty, it's over for them. Their season's over.
They need Genty and some linemen in the second and third round.
They got there's nothing explosive about that offense that worries me. I mean, they got CeeDee Lamb, but that's it. There's no threat. And if you don't have a run game, if you don't have guys that can make big plays, I mean, why would I worry about them playing the Eagles? They don't scare me at all.
Tomorrow night, he'll be streaming live for the 89th NFL Draft. Make sure you check our boy out. He does a great job, and his show is just absolutely exploding. Brother, I love you coming on each and every single week. Thank you so much, dude. Have a good one.
Two.
That is our friend Philly 500. When we come back, I'm going to take a look at Howie Roseman's best draft pick since 2016. We're also going to do this. Teams in the NFC East. Needs. Sleeper picks. We were supposed to do this yesterday. And again, a little bit more on Shador, because I'm getting accused of hating on the kid. I don't give a shit about the kid. I could care less. Being personal about him has nothing to do with this. I'm looking completely at football here. What have been Howie Roseman's best draft picks since 2016? We're going to do that next here. Don't forget my great friends at Morgan & Morgan. By the way, I got some great news for you. A billionaire is going to start doing a weekly segment here on this program. You see the commercials everywhere, John Morgan. John's going to start next week doing a weekly sports segment right here on this program. Now, some of you may not like the politics. He goes on Chris Cuomo all the time, too. So there's two shows he's doing, Chris Cuomo and mine. Okay, so we're pretty glad that we're able to do that. And John's a fixture now in the program. That'll be starting each and every single week. So we're looking for that, and we're looking forward to that. But don't forget to check our friends out at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in the country. Folks, they have over 1,000 attorneys from coast to coast making sure that they are going to be there for you and defend your family. It's a family-owned operation for the last 30 years. They take pride in that it's a family-run business. All the sons, the wife, John, have built this thing up for the last 30 years. I've been friends with them for about 25 years. It's been remarkable to watch the growth of Morgan & Morgan. Told you about the story in Pennsylvania. Insurance claim came in for $650K. No way. They got him $30 million, that family. Down in Florida, insurance claim came in for $350,000. They got him $12.5 million. If you're ever injured, please check my friends out at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit that like button. You guys have been absolutely great. Howie Roseman's best draft pick since 2016. We're going to do that here in a minute. We're going to look at the direction for tomorrow night. How I see it so far and what they've done here the last 3 months on preparing for the NFL draft. A little bit more on Shador. Some hot seat guys right now heading into the 25 season. Micah Parsons, going to hit on him here in a second as well. Let's start it here with Parsons. Parsons is not going through on-field activities during his minicamp, and he's holding out. Not really, but it's obviously offseason here. $40 million. I think he's overrated. I'll say it again. That guy is not an impact player. Can you name me the last Dallas Cowboy player that's been an impact player? You know what impact is to me? When you watch Micah Parsons play, do you see Jalen Carter? Like, do you see Jalen Carter? Do you see Chris Jones? Do you see Myles Garrett? Tell you this, I'll tell you another guy who's overrated. Trey Hendrickson. The worst 17-sack season in NFL history. His defense was 28. He had 17 sacks, and it meant nothing. Okay? Dude, I'm a social media idiot. Okay? What makes you think I'm not a social media idiot? I've done stupid shit on it too. I don't care about that. Okay? I mean, the stuff hanging out with Eagle guys and the fraternizing, you know what I'm saying? I get it. Get this. So here's another gigantic L for this guy. How can two things be true here? I see an impact player for sure, but he doesn't show up in big games. Well, then how the fuck so he's Kirk Cousins. Micah Parsons is Kirk Cousins. How can that be true? I see an impact player, but when the games are on the line, here's one thing you say about Hurts, and I'll say it. Hurts has a stacked football team. Well, shit, Sills. He wins, and he's won a Super Bowl, and he's won 2 NFC titles. You know what? You're right. That guy has a stacked team. Great players. Does he win? Yes. Okay. At least he wins. Dak Prescott. Hey, Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. The only thing different with these two guys, one's black, one's white. I see the same guy. I see the same dude. There's nothing that they do that's different. Very, very good players. Pretty good-looking teammates. I mean, everyone likes them. They're really productive. One guy's black, one guy's white. That's the only difference I see in them. Am I wrong? What's different? Both can't win in the postseason. What makes them different? Right? I can't deny Parsons being a damn good player. When has he ever led his defense? And the only thing he can do, at least Myles Garrett led his Cleveland Brown defense to the #1 overall ranking. He can't throw the ball. At least he had the #1 defense. When has Parsons ever done that? He gets run over. He's not good against the run, and he doesn't want to play the run. I'm not paying that. I have no interest in. I would move off him. Isn't it funny sometimes when you move really talented players like that, you get better? How many people would have thought that the Cleveland Cavaliers would be the best team in the Eastern Conference when they moved off of LeBron James, or LeBron moved off of them years ago? You think LeBron would rather be a Laker right now? Or do you think he'd rather be in the Eastern Conference with the Cavaliers? The Cavaliers got better without LeBron. Did they not? Have they not gotten better? Shit, the Knicks have gotten better since they dumped out of Carmelo Anthony's contract. Am I right? Hey, the Washington Nationals won a World Series when they moved off of Bryce Harper. The Baltimore Orioles got better when they moved off of Manny Machado. It's probably coincidence. Okay? Right? Look at the Cavs. Cavs are the best team in the Eastern Conference next to the Boston Celtics. There's no LeBron on that team. And he's out there in Los Angeles on one of the worst eras of football in Laker history. They got better without LeBron. Who would have thunk that? Actually, I disagree, Jack. NBA playoffs, I've been actually keeping an eye on it. NHL playoffs, I couldn't believe that the Panthers rolled the Lightning last night. That was shocking. last 2 Stanley Cup champions, and Panthers blew their doorknobs off. Kachuk's a great player, too, by the way. Not to bog you down here with hockey, but I can't believe how good the Florida Panthers look. They look sensational, and they're great in goal. And they're great on the blue line. I mean, since they added Keith Kachuk's kid, they're good, man. That's a good-looking hockey program. All right. What I've ranked the 10 best moves that Howie Roseman, once again, fucking another double loss, L for him. Myles Garrett's never won a Super Bowl with Johnny Manziel, and Parsons is never winning anything with Dak. Myles Garrett is a Hall of Famer. You don't have anybody on your football team as good as that player. Lane's not better. Mulata's not better. Carter's not better. He's probably the second best player in the NFL next to Patrick Mahomes. Winning a Super Bowl, dude, is a team accomplishment. When you're talking about here are the best players in the game. Best football players in the game. Mahomes, Garrett, Allen, Jefferson, Burrow, Chris Jones, Jamar Chase, Barkley, Henry, and Lamar. Those are the 10 best players in the sport. Mahomes, Garrett, Allen, Jefferson. You can change them around. Burrow, Chris Jones, Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson, Barkley, and Henry. Those are the 10 best players in the sport. What have they won? I'm not talking about that. Those are the 10 best football players in the sport. That's not the conversation. Who are the best players? Okay? In the sport. You know what? I'm going to take Jamar Chase out of that and put TJ Watt. And I'll put TJ there because he's an elite pass rusher. Crosby's probably 11, somewhere down there. See this guy here? This guy's an idiot. Who's been throwing to Justin Jefferson in Minnesota? I must have missed that. So you had Sam Darnold and who else? Kirk Cousins were his quarterbacks in Minnesota. And he's on pace to break Jerry Rice's record. How is that overrated? He doesn't have an elite player. He's never played with an elite quarterback in his entire career. And yet he has elite numbers. One year he had 1,200 yards or 1,100 yards in 9 games. How in the world? Get this. Cousins is a good quarterback. I never said he wasn't. Elite? I wouldn't put that in there. get this. Jefferson's, that's not the point. Once again, another douchebag. Jalen has to be in that list. He's the face of the league. Bro, I'm talking about the best players in the game. That's a whole different conversation. He's nowhere in that list. Okay? There's nothing about intangible conversations here. This is about being a good player. I'm not talking about intangibles here. I'm winning. I'm talking about who the best players in the game are. All right. The 16 best Howie Roseman picks since 2016. Who are they? Here are mine. At number 10, I got Cam Jurgens, second-round pick, heir apparent to Jason Kelsey. Came out of Nebraska. I thought he was a good prospect. I never in a million years thought that you would get an upgrade at center from Jason Kelsey. And plus, it's a second-round pick. He's not a first. That's a second-rounder. That right there, if you were to redraft Cam Jurgens, say in this draft, where would I put him? Center's the second most important position in the O-line, next to the left tackle. He's your quarterback. He's a 15th pick. He's the 15th pick in this draft. He'd be the best lineman in this draft, for sure. I got him number 10. Number 9. Another second rounder. Value and production. Howie Roseman's best picks since 2016. I got Cooper DeJean. He is by far my favorite football player on the defensive side of the football. I mean, you put him in the field, you put him on the field, he's got a Cam Chancellor way about himself. He reminds me of Richard Sherman, John Lynch. He's got all that. I see so many different styles of play. He's exceptionally athletic. They put him in special teams. I mean, really, absolutely fantastic pick. I got him at number 9. These are Howie Roseman's best picks since 2016. Number 8, I got Quinyon Mitchell. You know, the more you go into how they went after him, played at Toledo, Nick knew the head coach well, had conversations. All the teams that were paying or wanting to pay him in the SEC to leave Toledo and go down and play in the SEC. So enticing. He said, nope, I'm going to stay here. And I am going to be here and stay here. And to me, it's more important that I finish what I started. He's got a character quality about himself. It's a first-round pick. But let's be candid here. We're talking about the 22nd player taken. 21 teams had a shot at him. This is a really great pick. Get this. Cam Jurgens, underdrafted. Cooper DeJean, underdrafted. Quinyon Mitchell, underdrafted. Production, results, where you were taken. It's a great pick. I got Dallas Goddard at number 7. You know, there's a reason he got $15 million a year. He's one of the top 5 talents in the sport still to today. Top catches in the postseason in your Super Bowl run. Instrumental. Their offense underutilizes him because that's not what they are. You want to go there? Here. It's just not what they do. They never utilize the tight end to the maximum of his abilities. How many people in here would think that they maximized Dallas Goddard's ability the last 3 years? By the way, it's not a rip. You won 2 NFC titles in the Super Bowl. But do you think you maximized Dallas Goddard's ability to the best you could? You never utilized him. Okay? And he's been injured. So that played into it too. You could never really build a game plan around him. As talented as he is, he's a second rounder. It's a great pick. He was a second rounder. Okay? Brandon Graham was drafted in 16. From 2016, okay, to now, the best Howie Roseman picks, okay? Let me check something. I want to double check if he was a sixth, if he was. Okay. Last I checked, dude, I don't remember Lane Johnson being drafted in the 2016 draft. I must have missed that. Try opening your ears. Since 2016, Howie Roseman's best picks. Hard to use a tight end. Hurts can't see over the line. He even admitted it himself. So that's why 2 outside guys are so important. Okay? 2016 and up. Oh, I know, Blaine. Some people just can't hear. And Lane was Chip Kelly's pick. And Lane was taken in 13. Was he not? Yes, along with Ertz. It's 2016 to 2024. Holy Madonna to me. Like 4-year-olds. Number 6. I got Josh Sweat. Josh came out and Josh Sweat had all that conversation about him in high school, then went to Florida State. And Josh Sweat was a really good pick. Okay? I mean, and he has been over 50 sacks that he had. Was an absolute great football player for you guys, exceptionally productive in what he brought to the table. And I would say, again, that when you talk about a player that lived up to where he was taken, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a 4th-round pick. He was taken. Just a really great draft pick. And now he's in Arizona. Fourth round. Look at this. 3 2s, 1 1, and a 4 for Howie. Number 5. Devontae Smith. He will go down as the greatest wide receiver in Eagle history, having been drafted to his team. What I mean by that is he will be the best homegrown player at that position by the time he's finished in Philadelphia Eagle history. There will be no player that you ever drafted at wide receiver that will ever accomplish the things that Devontae Smith is accomplishing. Let's also take a look at him for a minute. Am I right when I say this? Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, Super Bowl champion, two-time NFC champion, rookie receiving records with the Eagles. All of this in a 6-year period is pretty remarkable. Guy's a consummate winner. I mean, I would make this point to you. He's more accomplished than Jalen Hurts. First-round pick, Heisman winner, Super Bowl champion, national champion, first-round pick. What didn't he do? I mean, it's a great pick. And I was wrong. I thought he would be injured more. I did. I thought he'd be more injured. Number 4, another second rounder. I got Landon Dickerson here. This guy has turned into one of the top 3 offensive guards in pro football. So let's take a look at this now. Howie's best picks since 2000. Since 2016, 1, 2, 3, 4 2s, 2 1s, and a 4 with Sweat. I mean, Dickerson's a workhorse. He will go down. Landon Dickerson, if he keeps this current here, I want to show you guys something. Okay? In the next 15 years, are you guys listening? The next 15 years, you're going to have a Hall of Famer, Jason Peters. Jason Kelsey at center. You're going to have Lane Johnson, right tackle. And at left guard, Landon Dickerson. You're in, and Mulata at left tackle. In the next 15 years, the only position that you would not have produced a Hall of Famer, not a starter, a fucking Hall of Famer, is right guard. 2 left tackles, Jason Peter and Mulata. Your right tackle in Lane. Your center in Jason Kelsey. And your left guard in Landon Dickerson. I've never heard of anything like this. I have never in my life. The great Steeler teams had one guy in the O-line, Mike Webster. I've never seen anything like this. The lineage of great football players in your O-line, these aren't starters. These are Hall of Famers. Right tackles going to the Hall of Fame. You've had 2 left tackles. Let's just take Jason Peter out of it because you didn't draft him. So let's put Mulata in there. Peter's going to go, and he's going to have the Eagle name next to him, but I guess you can use that. Jason Peter, Jordan Mulata. Landon Dickerson and Jason Kelly. You have produced a Hall of Famer at every position in the O-line. And you want to know why you spend the money you do? $25 million for Lane, $22 for Jordan, $21 for Landon, $17.5 for Juergens. I can't think of an offensive line in NFL history or an organization in NFL history that has produced more players of that high level in the history of the league. You go back to the Dallas Cowboy O-lines. This is drafting. You fucking drafted these guys. You drafted these guys. These are dudes drafted. Unbelievable. Number 3, these are the best players that Howie has drafted since 2016. I got Jalen Carter at 3. First round pick, 9th pick. So he's a 1. So far, you've got 3 1s, 4 2s, and a 4th rounder. Jalen Carter will go down as your greatest defensive tackle in Eagle history. Better than Jerome. He's bigger. He's a little quicker. It's unfair to say that a little bit because Jerome was starting to win all pro. Okay? He's starting to, that's right. Jerome was starting to get all pros. Number 2. I got to take a look at this pick. Let's see here. Let's see here. What round did Jordan Mulata go? What round did he go? Was he a 7? Psh, 2018. He's only been in the league since 2018. He's a 7th round pick. Okay. 2018. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. He's only played 8 years. He's already the premier left tackle in the league, maybe. He's your best athlete on the team. So a 7th round pick is number 2, Jordan Mulata. I mean, you could make the argument that Jordan Mulata, and I got Jalen Hurts number 1, 2nd rounder. So let's add this up. Okay? Stop with the Howie Glaze Fest. Bro, how is this not great? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 10 guys were taken in the 2nd round. That's not a glaze fest, bro. That's actual facts. 1, 2, 3 are only first rounders. 3 first rounders are his best picks, and the rest of them have been 7th rounders, 2nd rounders, and a 4th rounder. I'm not sure what you're talking about. That's exceptional. Jalen Hurts, MVP of a Super Bowl. Jordan Mailata, a Pro Bowler. Jalen Carter, a Pro Bowler. Sills, he's done nothing this offseason. Well, dude, this is why they're giving Pump. This is why they're giving him the benefit of the doubt, though. You can't just glaze it. You can't glaze over this. How can you glaze over that? Half of his best picks in 16 have not been first rounders. And they've been to 3 Super Bowls since 16. And they've won 2 of them. How is that glazing? Remember what I do here. I point out good, bad, and ugly. This is what we do. I'm not sitting here. I don't glaze over anybody, but I can't dismiss this. This is the facts. Half of your best picks in 16 are 2nd rounders. He does a better job of drafting rounds 2 to 7. Does he not? Would you not agree? The strength of Howie has been rounds 2 to 3 or 2 to 7. Do you agree? Or no? Shit, he's missed on first rounders. Right? Dude, name me another GM that has got more production out of his 2nd round than first round. Here, let's take a look at this here from 16. Who is more productive? Carson Wentz, Isaac Seumalo, Carson Wentz. That was a first-round pick by Howie. Wentz wins the 2016. Who was the best player in the 2017 draft? Wasn't Derek Barnett? Wasn't Rasul Douglas? Probably was Derek Barnett. 2017. Barnett's a bust, though. So Barnett, first round, he was okay. Made a big play in the 17 Super Bowl. I got it. I know you guys will always bring that up. But he wasn't horse shit. I don't think he was. I think he was okay. I don't know. I mean, some of you may have a different opinion of him, but I don't know. I mean, Derek Barnett was what? Okay. That's a bomb pick. Okay. Derek Barnett. 2018. Mailata. Get this. Look at this draft. Goddard in the 2nd. Maddox. Okay. Sweat. He's got a huge deal. And Mailata. So you got Goddard, Sweat, and Mailata. Who won that one? Jordan Mailata. His best pick in 2018 was Mailata. The last pick in the draft, 233. Can you imagine that? Think about this. Think about what I just said. The best pick in the 2018 draft was the 233rd pick. So when you're looking at this draft tomorrow night, remember something. Okay? Veach is not a disciple of Howie Roseman. That is not true. He's Joe Banner. Veach was a DB coach under Andy Reid. That's not true. He worked in the office, but he was a Reed hire. That's why Andy brought him to Kansas City with him. 2019 was a horrible draft. Dillard. Sanders was not horrible. He was a Pro Bowler. Second round. 20. Second round. Hurts. You tell me this. Who is a better player? The first pick, Devontae Smith, or Landon Dickerson? Or Milton Williams? Couldn't you make the argument that Landon Dickerson? Who do you think is a more valuable player on the Eagles? Landon Dickerson or Devontae Smith? I think it's Landon. You can win without Smith. Yeah, I like the player. Landon's more needed. Ask Barkley. So Landon, another second-round pick, was the better pick in that draft, even with as good as Devontae is. Landon's a better player. Landon Dickerson is a better player than Devontae. And by the way, who do you think the Eagles would want to keep? Devontae? They make the same money. One guy makes 25. The old lineman makes 22. I mean, Landon Dickerson makes as much as Devontae Smith playing left guard. That's what they think of Landon. Guy who never touches the football. $21, yeah. I think Landon wins that round. Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, he wins this round. Jacoby is not better than Cam, and Jordan Davis is not better than Cam Jurgens. And the thing you got to remember about Cam Jurgens, hey, Pump, you know the thing you got to remember about Jurgens? They drafted him and kept his ass on the bench. Then they slugged his ass in over at right guard after Sayamalo left, right? Right? After 22, Sayamalo left. Then in 23, they put in Jurgens, right? Am I right when they did that? Jurgens started in 23, but that was at right guard. So they had him on the bench. So a second rounder again won that draft in 22. 23, it's Carter. Here's something. Who won the 2024 draft? Mitchell, Cooper, or Hunt? I think Cooper DeJean won that one. Another 2. The way I look at this since 16, Howie's a better drafter in round 2. Why wouldn't he trade out and go to the second round? He has more grand slams. This team is built with second rounders and late round picks. Are they not? Shit, A.J. Brown was a second round pick. I know he didn't draft him, but he was a 2. I don't know about you, man, but I mean, I didn't realize it until I'm talking to you now. Howie's best insights are in the second, because you know why? Players start falling. The best player available, and he looks at the best player available, and he looks at value and talent. These mock drafters are smoking if they think Howie passes on Pierce. I don't think he will pass on Pierce. I don't. Okay? I don't. Get this. Money doesn't tell the whole story, not even close. What was the story then on Gardner Johnson, why they moved him? What was the story on Milton Williams, why they moved him? What was the story on Josh Sweat? Why they moved him? Why didn't they re-sign Isaac Seumalo? It's an idiotic comment when you don't put money into the equation, especially when you don't believe in second contracts on defense. That's a money conversation. This is not college football. Money always has to be part of the problem and part of the story. That's right. M. Reyes knows this. Money is the story for those guys. It's money. Cap. They're $22 million under the cap right now. Why aren't they You could have signed Sweat. He still got the dough. You could have you could have restructured Jalen Hurts and got more money. Dude, I'm fucking talking about what they're doing, dummy. An idiotic follow along. You're not, once again, if you don't factor money into how they're going to go about their business tomorrow night, you're not understanding the draft process at all. So, Jalen, you don't understand the draft process. You have no concept of it. You just think a guy on the board, you take him, and that's it. This is a guy you tried to show the draft chart to. All of a sudden, people don't want to make that pick. Here, I'll do this again. M. Reyes gets the draft. He totally gets it. Okay? Like I said, I heard the guys this morning, they want to go up to the Vikings. Like I said, you want to go up to 24? This guy Jalen doesn't get it. And I'll show you what you have to do. You want to go up to 24 from 32. Okay? You tell me if Walter Nolan or anyone else is worth this to Howie with a mediocre draft. Do you believe Howie Roseman would do this? 32 has a value of $590. The 24th pick has a value of $740. That's the Vikings. The objective is that when you're moving, you've got to get something in return or you have to give. So you got to give here. You've got to close that gap to make that 740 value for the Vikings to want to move. What does that mean? You look at your second round pick, which is 64. That's 270. 590 and 270 comes out to 860. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you my second round pick. That's too expensive. That's not going to cut it. Okay? So what do you do then? Go to your third round. You're down in the 90s. There's 124, 590, 124. That's 714. What is that? It's 740. I need another 30 points. Where do I go? I go into one of the 160s. It's 27. That's 740. So you would have to give your third rounder and a fifth rounder and your 32 to get to 24. Are you doing that? This is how it works. Would you give the 32nd pick, your third rounder, and one of your fives to move up to 24 to get Walter Nolan, if that's the guy you covet? Because that's what it's going to cost. 32, that 90-something pick, and a fifth rounder. I think fifth rounder. Yes. 32, 3, and 5. You're not sure? Well, then you're going to move out of the draft. Then you're going to move out of the first round. Right? Because then you're not valuing anybody. Good question. Would I do this? If I'm in love with that guy, I would. If I'm not, and I kind of like him, I'm going to move back, and I'm going to try to cut a deal with the Cleveland Browns, sitting at 33. The Browns need players in offense. They need a running back. They need a quarterback. Okay? And if they get Travis Hunter, they're going to put him on the other side of that Pro Bowl corner they got there already. So you got two potential Pro Bowl corners. You got Garrett. You're kind of fixing your defense. You're going to get multiple picks. You're going to go down in the draft. And at 32, you could sit there and go like this. I'll tell you what, because it's the quarterbacks, if there's a quarterback available, I want another pick. Because you're praying to Jackson Darts down there, or Shador, or Milrow. I don't know what they see in Milrow. I mean, Jalen Hurts with the Eagles, if Jalen Hurts went to the Jets in the second round, he'd be a colossal disaster. Why? They're just not very good at developing quarterbacks. They haven't developed a quarterback since Joe Namath. No matter who you are. Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was in New York, right? Sam Darnold threw for 40-some-odd 100 yards last year and 30-some-odd touchdowns. And he's considered a journeyman quarterback now. He's better than anything. Hey, do you think the Jets would want Sam Darnold back now? Don't you think the Jets would want Sam Darnold back? After what they saw him do with the Minnesota Vikings, at least he's better than anything they've ever had since Namath. Still, he folded the – I get it. But who's been better? Mark Sanchez? I mean, who's been better? Like, who's been a better quarterback since Sam Darnold? Since Joe Namath? Vinny? Sanchez? And it's bad coaching. There's no question it's bad coaching. And Chad Pennington, not awful. Not awful. So again, you want to move up to that. Minnesota has like 4 picks, 5 picks, whatever it is. So you would give them 3 picks to move up to 24. Puts them at 7. That puts them back in the game. That puts them back in the game. Thank you, Sills. These delusional Eagle fans think Hurts could have landed anywhere and have been successful because he's a winner. I don't think there's a quarterback I think the quarterbacks that could do that are Allen, Burrow, Lamar, and Mahomes. And the rest of them, no way. No way. And by the way, if there's no Andy Reid in Kansas City, is he that guy? I don't know. Because I'll tell you this, the guy in Buffalo, I mean, Sean McDermott is not some sort of like offensive guru. Sills, Howie definitely effed up the Rager for JJ. He really messed up. Yeah, but, okay, it's true. But let me ask you guys something. Don't you think the Jordan Mailata pick makes up for it? Don't you think? Don't you think he makes up for that? Sure, the Jalen Rager pick is a terrible pick. And people go to that because it's low-hanging fruit. But I would add this in. Well, shit, man, he's been successful in the second round like a crazy man. I wonder if he's the most successful drafter in the second round of any guy in the league right now. Because I'll tell you this. Let me show you guys something. Let me show you this. Here. So let's see how many Pro Bowlers he's drafted. Now, that were second-round picks. Let's see here. He didn't have a second-round pick in 23. Juergens is a Pro Bowler. Landon's a Pro Bowler. Hurts is a Pro Bowler. Sanders was a Pro Bowler. Goddard was a Pro Bowler. So think about this. The 2019 draft, Sanders was a Pro Bowler. Jalen Hurts, 2020, was a Pro Bowler. 2021, second round, Landon Dickerson's a Pro Bowler. 2022, Cam Juergens is a Pro Bowler. You didn't have a second round pick in 23. Cooper DeJean made the all-rookie team. So think of this. In the last 4 drafts that you've had a second rounder, Cooper DeJean makes the all-rookie team. 4th in Rookie of the Year. You didn't have a second rounder in 23. You had one in 22. Juergens is a Pro Bowler. 21, you had one. Landon's a Pro Bowler. 20, Jalen Hurts is a Pro Bowler. And 19, Miles Sanders was a Pro Bowler. I mean, that's getting it done, freaks. That's getting it done. I mean, so here again, I wrote these down. Rager was a Lori call. Like I said, though, Jalen Rager in 2020, you turned around, but in 2018, look at this. So you got Sweat in the 4th and Mulata in the 7th. You got Sanders in the 2nd. You got Hurts in the 2nd. And you fucked up on Rager. I don't know. I get it because it's Jefferson. But still, Hurts, Sanders was a Pro Bowler, Goddard, top paid guy, Sweat, and Mulata since 18. I don't know. I'll give you missing on Jefferson. Everyone misses on players. I mean, he's had more success in the second round. Feels Howie definitely. Oh yeah, and I get that. I do. All right, folks, don't forget our great friends with Morgan & Morgan. As I told you a couple minutes ago, John's going to start doing a weekly segment with us. Has the #1 injury law firm in America with over $26 billion recovered for people across this great country. Looking out for families, family-run business. His sons, his wife, himself for the last 30 years have built this business up into being the #1 injury law firm in America. Thousands of attorneys from coast to coast. Look what they're doing to the folks out in Los Angeles and out in California with all those fires out there where people got their homes taken from them and had nothing left because insurance company left them destitute. No way. They're getting restitution for those families, and they can do the same thing for you. Do me a favor. If you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
No more speculating. We're going to be doing a lot of work tomorrow, obviously for us. And then, of course, on Front Office Sports, we're going to be doing some work also with those guys. And we're going to be doing opening our radio show this weekend in Tampa. It's the first time I host a radio show in 4.5 years. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe some of you want to call in, you can. Malata's a great pick. He is totally a great pick. So we appreciate everybody. By the way, guys, please hit that like button. So those 5 guys, I'm not deviating off them. If these 5 guys aren't there tomorrow night, Starks, Maxwell Hairston, James Pierce, Derek Harmon, or Walter Nolan, I don't see the value in staying there, especially if those quarterbacks fall. I think Sanders is going to be Aaron Rodgers on draft night. M. Reyes, hey, man, you like that gear that the Hamilton Tiger Cats sent me, didn't you? So I got to thank the folks up in Canada, CFL. The Hamilton Tiger Cats sent me a hat. They sent me some gear, and all the folks that have been sending me things to sign. I promise you, I'll get them out to you guys. My wife is there. She said you got to sign these. Some of you guys sent envelopes with a stamp on them, so I will get those out to you as soon as I can. I want to thank you guys so much. Big Z, Joe, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Big day tomorrow, the 89th NFL Draft. We will have you covered. Michael Irvin will join us on Friday, 2 to 6 tomorrow. See you on the flip side.